Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting nifty up the crack, and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, December 16th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. This is my last Betting with the Bag for a little while. We have some exciting news for shows next week right here at this time slot. But I will not be there. I'm heading out west for a little while. And it's too bad because we're running nice. I will still be hosting the Tuesday night Gridiron Gamblers show. So I'll be all over that. And we cashed on the under 43 last night. We went 2-1 with our live bets. It had Seahawks plus 6.5, plus 9.5, and plus 17.5. So we cashed the 9.5 and 17.5. And we were fortunate that Mason didn't run into the end zone there. It was a funny run by Jordan Mason because my man Phila from the chat, he was right. He was right about Mason not being a part of the offense, but all the over props cashed for Mason. There was a lot of cashing yesterday. Overall, another winning day thanks to NHL. NHL, another good day, 3-2 plus 1.45 units. Sabres plus 165 was an easy casher, as easy as a dog of that size will get. Buffalo, Colorado under 6.5 was still felt easy. I mean, I know it was 4-2 final, but it felt like we were in control the whole time. Oilers -1 was a loss. Disappointing. Pittsburgh, Florida under 6.5 was a casher. And Devils -1.5 was a loss and a mistake. I should have gone 2-0 in college basketball. McNeese State, first half cashed. Lehigh, Wisconsin, first half under 62. It ended on 63. It's shocking. We thought Wisconsin could come in sloppy. I should have just been on Lehigh Valley first half. Instead, I was on Lehigh on the under 62.5. Wisconsin scores 31 points, and I don't cash the first half under. Irritating. And then NBA 2-2. We lost the Miami Houston under by a point. But then we cashed Rockets plus 3.5 by a half point. Grizzlies -2.5 was a walk in the park. And Pelicans, first quarter, was a loser. And Danny Lopez says Zach Wilson confirmed starter for the Jets. Wow. And Slatsy in the house. Shout out to all you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It was a real fun live bet stream last night. Really, really fun. Just such a fun group of cappers we have. And so I enjoyed it immensely. I will be hosting the Sunday night game, Giants, Commanders, and then I fly off out west on Monday. I'll still be making moves in NHL and NFL. I'm not sure about college basketball and some of the bowl game and NBA because I really prefer to cap them with you guys. And I'll still have the opportunity to cap NFL with you guys. But NHL, I'm fine just doing on my own. So we'll see how everything bangs out over the holidays. Shout out to everybody joining us. Fat win in the house. 2-game parlay. Minnesota to score first. And Marquette team total over 78.5. Copy and paste that. We're going to get right into college football here shortly. We have our first college bowl game popping off in 25 minutes. And I haven't bet it yet, but I plan to if we break it down in a way that is appealing. Andrew G said, I want to throw my laptop across the room last night after watching what Edmonton did. Yeah. No, that's there's TJ. We miss you, man. TJ in the house. Billy Friedrich said, I'm not correct much. We know you are more than not. And he says, but that Niners spot last night was easy money. Seahawks had no chance, Kenneth Walker or not. Yeah, you Sharps lost. It'll happen, and you nailed it. Series business ready to get to work. There's Brooklyn Funk Project. Ron Lofton. Dan Kelly says, I was out plowing all morning. I wish you just left it at that, and we could just use our imagination. Ryan Mueller, Rocco Rogers, Vaughn Polo, Brandon Cummings. Nice to see you, Brandon. Been a while, man. Ick Schnizzle, Smoking Mears, Lee Davis. Yeah, it was great. We work well as a team, my man. You're a big part of it. Dan Kelly, North Ender, Nuke Worker. Yes, there's no McBride for UAB. He's not going to be in the game. But they have still a really quality running back. We'll talk about that with Bobano here shortly. North Ender says NHL's been magical. Yeah, we're just under 10 units since the speech last week. So speech, the monologue, the soliloquy. What the fuck? Slatsy says nailed pens and stars, but losing night now. No Jimmy for a while has disturbed me greatly. I'll still be there around for NFL, but gonna head out west, see some family I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm excited about it. Danny Lopez says Zach Wilson confirmed started for the Jets. So very interested to hear what young Jose Bouquet has to say about that.
We're back, baby! Hey, we're back! I'm still having the Jets on my card. You think Zach Wilson and Mike White are the different people? No. I trust the Mormon community.
I don't believe you.
Let's go. Jimmy, I have a story for you, too. I'm excited about it because I have a lot of energy now because of it. And, Jimmy, you know what fuels me? Spite.
Yes.
Anger.
Yeah.
And I got a FaceTime from one of my least favorite people on this earth. Any guesses? Chat. Yes, you're right. I just got a FaceTime from one Yankees catcher, Jose Trevino. One of my friends knows him. They've known him for each other for a while. I motherfuck him constantly. And we just had a 5-minute just yelling match back and forth with each other. Just immediately when I saw him on my screen, I saw him have a beard. And I said, shave it off. You fucking know you can't have that shit. Shave it off. And we went back and forth for a solid 5 minutes yelling at each other. And now I'm extremely angry at the Red Sox. I want them to beat the Yankees more than anything ever. And I hope Jose Trevino goes 0-4 fucking whatever. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Fuck that fat ass, dude. He's the Yankees mascot. I might FaceTime him right back and be like, dude, I want second round with you.
And now we see what is in the background of your shot. Will you tell the chat what is happening here next week?
Yeah, as I fuel myself with this anger that Jose Trevino has given me. Thank you, you fuck. But yes, Jimmy, you're gonna take a lovely vacay. You're going out to the West Coast, the best coast. Gonna see your dad. Maybe take some more of his money. He doesn't know. I don't know. Maybe see G on the way too. Who knows? But yes, I'll be hosting the show next week. It'll be a whole lot of fun. Of course, Peter will be with me. I'll be with Peter on Tuesday. Then Wednesday through Friday, it'll be me and the lads breaking down all the games. It'll be a whole lot of fun. It's going to be Dutch, Bobano, Durrell, all those guys. Maybe it'll be Mr. Peter Loshak as well.
I love it. I love it. Dad fan.
Yeah, Dad fan. I'm sorry, Dad fan. When I get emotional, it mean, I go on long soliloquies, as they say. I'm sorry.
And you will be back. You will be back for the UTSA breakdown.
I will be. Fuck Jose Trevino.
There it is. Right there. Our man, Jose Bouquet. No, I'm going to Victoria to see the mom and my mom's side of the family. That's where I'm going to be. Great to see all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We have a lot of work to do. We have the star of our Friday shows waiting in the wings, ready to rock. Ron Lofton on UAB -6.5 first half. There's Coin, Wine Time Sports, Danny Lopez, Dan Kelly, Stimmy OG, Kadesh Dean, Dav Fenn, Razor Sharp Picks, Justin McElvey, Rocco Rogers, Rob Free, Vipe, BJ Peanut in the house. Been too long. The over 56 in the Troy game. DC Capper. All right, let's get to work, all of you guys. I wish I could give you guys all shouts out. You all deserve it. Oh, Billy Friedrich was at the Canes game last night. He's telling us Grubauer outplayed Kochekov. It's all about the defense in front of those guys. Kochekov's second goal allowed was soft. Brooklyn Funk Project. Thank you guys all for joining us. Lee Davis is going to be on Miami of Ohio plus 11. Let's get to work right now and bring on your star of these Friday shows, coming to us from Canada's Black and Yellow. Please welcome to the show, Ian Cameron. Bobano, how are you?
I'm good, Jimmy. Of course, the start of the bowl season today. It's got to be a good day.
It is very exciting, and we have bowl game popping off in 19 minutes, so let's get right to work. Let's make sure everything is set up for us to discuss cash flow odds, and we are off and racing. Here we go. 11:30 p.m. Eastern, the Hometown Lenders Bahama Bowl. Miami of Ohio RedHawks 6-6 versus the UAB Blazers 6-6. We're at Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. We will start with the line history here. The line history, we go. UAB opened up as 11-point favorites. They got down to 10. They got up to 11.5. Most recently, though, they were down to 10.5. They got back up to 11 at 8:47 this morning. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 44. We are now up to 45.5. See where the sharp money is. There sharp money, 24,181 tickets in. 36% of the tickets, 41% of the cash on UAB. Miami of Ohio is a public dog. 61% of the tickets, 61% of cash is on the over. Not a lot of help there. Matty Ice is on Ohio plus 10.5. Kadesh says happening in his country at that beautiful casino there where they do the World Poker Tour, right? Or the I think it's the World Poker Tour. But yeah, a beautiful, beautiful casino there. A lot of love for Ohio. Ohio plus 11. But Simi OG on the other side, UAB minus 11 and the over 45. Wine Time loving the distribution in the UTSA game. I'm going to copy and paste that Wine Time. Here we go. But let's set up a quick table for our man Bobano, the star of our Hitting the Books college football show. Miami barely squeaked into bowl action. They won their last two games of the year. They won at NIU 29-23 and closed their season with an 18-17 home victory over Ball State. Second worst in the MAC offensively. 308.4 yards per game, just 20.3 points per game. Brett Gabbert played in 4 games during the regular season because of an injury in the opener. He said he was going to enter the transfer portal, but he's now changed his mind. He is staying with the RedHawks. And I don't know, just for starters, if he's under center or if it's Avion Smith in charge of the offense. Do you know who it is, Bobana?
Yeah, it's going to be Avion Smith. Yeah,
Avion Smith. Avion Smith led the team in rushing, 503 yards, 6 touchdowns, dual threat, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. You have Mac Hippenhammer, second team All-MAC senior, 52 receptions for 726 yards and 8 touchdowns. And the best thing the RedHawks were able to do this year was they stopped the run. They gave up just 136 yards per game. Just like the RedHawks, UAB closed their season with a 37-27 win at Louisiana Tech to qualify for the bowl season. Their star running back, Dwayne McBride, is not going to be in this football game. Jermaine Brown will take his place, and he's good. 832 yards on 142 carries. Trey Shropshire is their best receiver, 35 catches for 740 yards. They average 31 points a game. Their defense, first in the Conference USA during the regular season, allowing just 23.4 points per game. Second in yards allowed at 368.3. And their pass defense, 197.7 yards allowed per game, was very, very strong. There is the table set. Let's hear what Bobano has to say about our first bowl game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's early in the season. I don't leave double digits, hardly ever. And I'm not doing that here. I do lean Miami. I don't love the Miami side. I will make Miami official, but I don't love it. I like the total more. I think you'll see this game go over. I like both games to be actually high scoring today, but this one I do think goes over. When I see double-digit dogs, and there's a long-term trend out there and sample size that states double-digit dogs are covering nearly 60% of the time ATS the last, I'd say, 10 years. You've got overs in games involving double-digit favorites, also trending bold games with double-digit favorites trending over the total at, I think, 56, 57% over that time. And that makes sense, too. You know, the double-digit favorite is usually sometimes lacking motivation, and sometimes that can show up on the defensive side of the football. And then the other team, the underdog, goes the extra mile with trick plays and puts new things into the playbook. So anyway, the long-term trends in bowl games the last decade are very good long-term win percentage to double-digit dogs and overs in games with a double-digit point spread. So that's not the only reason I like Miami O and the over. I like Miami O because I think they're excited to be here. I like the idea of bowl teams that played their way into a bowl game, playing well down the stretch to get themselves into a bowl game. Avion Smith's not a great passing quarterback, but he's a very solid running quarterback for Miami O. And UAB's defense has been far worse against the run this year. So I think it actually works in Miami O's favor that they've got the better running quarterback here in Avion Smith as opposed to Brett Gabbert, believe it or not. And some people have been reacting that, Brett Gabbert's a big loss. Not this year he is. This year he hasn't played well. And when he's been banged up all season and he hasn't played well when he has been in there. So, I don't think it's that big of a deal that he's not the quarterback for this game. Avion Smith will do fine. If you can find Avion Smith over rushing yards, there's books out there that post player props for college football. And I think a lot of them will have props for the bowl games because they're standalone events. I think over rushing yards is a good bet with Avion Smith. He's a very good athletic quarterback, and I think he can do damage against this UAB defense. On the flip side, the one concern is UAB probably does have, if you grade out the roster and the talent, it probably is a UAB advantage. I'm conflicted on how they're going to show up for this game. I think Miami O will show up. Will UAB? UAB's not happy that Trent Dilfer, the players are not happy that Trent Dilfer got named the head coach. They wanted this current interim coach to be the guy. And he was passed over for the job, and they bring in Trent Dilfer. They were so upset by it, they wrote a letter to the administration and said, hey, we want this guy as the permanent head coach. They didn't get their wish. Trent Dilfer was hired. So this could go one of two ways. Either this team is in the dumps, they're upset based on the decision that was made to bring in Dilfer, not their guy who's going to be gone, or it could rally them for this game where, hey, this is going to be the last time that he'll be here on the UAB sideline. Vincent, the interim coach, let's win this for him. Win one for the Gipper type of motive takes over. So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe that's something you want to look for early in the game. How locked in is UAB? Because I think Miami O is coming to play. I just wonder if UAB will. But if UAB is, could be trouble for Miami O because they do have advantages in the trenches. They do have speed advantages. But as I've said all year about UAB, I haven't liked their defense. It's been nowhere near as good. And that's a dubious proposition when you're laying doubles. So going to go with Miami O plus the points and also over the total.
Well, let's lock it in for you. By the way, you've been excellent here in college football on the show. 25-12, 67.6% plus 11.8 units. ROI plus 31.89%, average line minus 110.
Coincides with my full season, which is 17.9 units. It's been an unbelievable college football season. Terrific.
Yeah, excellent work. And this is the smallest amount of action I've had in college football since I started doing this publicly. 32-20, only 52 bets this year. 32-20, 61.5%. I'm plus 10.15 units ROI, plus 19.52%, average line minus 110.
Nice.
Let's lock you in here for you. You have a plus 11, minus 105 to get you started for Bobano.
The diligent line shopper that I am, my bet on this is 11.5, but I know there's none of those left, so we got to go with 11.
Then for totals, we have the 45.5 at minus 105 over at 5 dimes. 45.5 minus 105. Bobano.
Wow, that total really moved. Holy crap. Because 44 is what I had. Let me just see here.
46 is on the board now at Bookmaker, BetCris, Heritage.
Wow, it's moved to 46 there. Wow. So there's a lot of people agreeing with that. Wow. All right, 45.5 is fine. Yep.
And yeah, that's the best net units. I have to go back to last year. I have to go back. Everything changed for me in that bowl season with.
Oh, is it 45 at Bookmaker? I didn't know that. Let me check and make sure that's right.
I have 46 at minus 109 at Bookmaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, Billy Friedrich says 45 minus 110 at Bookmaker. So maybe this is stale. Can you refresh that, and we'll give it to you
I'm
right
going
now?
to right now. Well, I've got BetStamp showing me it is 45 at Bookmaker, but I want to make sure Bookmaker's got it at 45 because sometimes they're stale as well.
Yeah. But we'll give it to you if it is available. Yeah, Billy Friedrich says it's in his account. Okay, let's lock that in.
All right, 45 minus 110 then. Yep.
45 minus 110. You are locked in. Yeah, the bowl season, 2 years ago when we were doing the shows all together with Ragu and everyone, that was when everything kind of turned around for me in college football, and I just carried it over. But the smaller sample size, it's all about winning. The importance of being in the black and being profitable it's never been more important really to my life. So whatever works, and this has been working. Bobano making moves. I'm going to stay off this spot. He just put it in at Bookmaker, Dan Kelly. Just bet it 45 minus 119. Is that what you would prefer, or do you want a 45 and a half at minus 105?
No, we'll do 45. 45 is good. Key number.
45 minus 119. You're locked in. I'm going to stay off this bowl game. There's enough unknown for me to not feel comfortable. But let's move on to the Cure Bowl, the Duluth Trading Cure Bowl at 3 p.m. Eastern, and bring on your next guest, the man who will be hosting the show next week. There's Birdie in the house, Don Play, Jared JB. He is on Miami at plus 10.5 as well, Jared JB. Let's welcome Jose Bouquet to the show. Jose, how are you, my friend?
I'm fired up. I've got a lot of energy now.
Yep.
Thank you, Jose Trevino, for fueling my hate and my energy for the day. I appreciate it. Let's talk some fucking UTSA football, the pride and joy in my life.
Let's talk some UTSA football. These Roadrunners open up at minus 1.5 this morning at 8:46 a.m. Jumped up a point to minus 2.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 55. It's now at 56. It went up to 57, but dropped down to 56 at 9:02 a.m. Take a look at the cash on this game. 48% of the tickets are on Troy, but 66% of the cash, but the market moving away from them. Very confusing there. 86% of the tickets on the over, but just 56% of the cash. So clearly there's some sharp action on this under. Both teams are 11-2, and the only major conference champions to meet in a bowl game this year.
That's what's the problem with bowl games nowadays. And back in my day, bowl champions, the conference champions used to play each other. Not anymore.
Yeah.
So angry.
Coin and Wine Time. Wine Time saying, I'm loving the money distribution in UTSA versus Troy. It says 14% of the bets, 44% of the money on the under 56.5, which is now at 56. Says might have to take a shot on the under despite the defenses being so bad. Let me set a quick table here. The Jeff Traylor-led UTSA Roadrunners have been very, very good. 23-5, 2 Conference USA championships, 15-1 in regular season conference games. And the one thing that Mr. Traylor does not have is a bowl victory. And the program 0-3 all time in bowl action. We know they move over to the AAC next year. They've won 10 straight. They beat UAB 44-38, beat Western Kentucky, 2 wins over North Texas. They beat North Texas in the title game.
Embarrassed them, got them to fire their coach.
Yeah, as well, yes. 6.5 yards per play, 38.7 points per game. Frank Harris will be returning next year, and there is a new play caller, Justin Burke.
Yeah.
So I want you to touch on Will Stein leaving to be offensive coordinator at Oregon. Kavorian Barnes, 175 yards against North Texas. He looked very, very good.
King.
They allowed 4 opponents to go for 200 or more rushing yards. They allowed 425 yards on the ground in their last 2 games. How will that hurt them here against Troy? Troy surprised this year under John Summerall and took it all the way to the Sun Belt title, beat Coastal Carolina 45-26, limiting teams to 4.7 yards per play and only allowing 1 opponent to score over 30 points, and that was App State. Gunnar Watson looked great against Coastal Carolina. 3 touchdown passes, 318 yards. Kamani Vidal is a running back that can be trusted, and they have an offensive line that has 2 first-team all-conference players. Jose, talk to us about your thoughts in this game. Do you agree with the market move towards your Roadrunners, and what do you think of the under?
I am excited about this game. First UTSA bowl game that's not in Texas, I believe, as well. I was at the bowl game last year. Shout out to Damon Santorio, a mistake from it. Acquitted. I cannot say a gang rapist. Now, acquitted. No longer a gang rapist at San Diego State beat them. But here's the thing, Jimmy. I don't know if UTSA really gives a fuck about bowl games. Like, I don't know if they care. Last year, they didn't care as much. And the thing that is my saving grace in all of this is that what makes me want to bet UTSA is that the greatest quarterback in Texas football history, Frank Harris, is coming back. Now, I love this. This is the new NCAA. This is the new college football. He got a 6-figure deal to stay. At school. 7 years, I think he's going to go. Almost a decade of Frank Harris at quarterback. That's fucking crazy. But I love it. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. He's the best quarterback to come out of Texas in a long time. I'm including A&M, UT, all of them. He's better than all of them. Here's the thing, though. I don't trust UTSA in bowl games. And I was hoping they would be underdogs here. I'll probably lay the 2.5 because I'm a homer bitch. But it's just scary to bet on UTSA in bowl games when, A, they're going to a new conference next year. And kind of everyone's focused on that. Literally, anyone that you talk to that goes to UTSA, everyone cares about winning the AAC next year because we've won the Conference USA last year, walked to it this year, and with Frank Harris, we can win the conference next year. Now, you mentioned Will Stein leaving, which is an issue, obviously not ideal, but here's the thing. They lost their offensive coordinator last year too, lose them again this year because good offenses, who would have thought, but Jeff Traylor is the offense. It's just like having like Sean McVay as one of your coaches. The Sean McVay offensive coordinators, like they don't do shit. They're just there. They might call the plays, but McVay does all the grunt work and does all the install and all that stuff. And I think that's what Traylor's just going to do. Wouldn't be surprised if he calls plays. So he's not going to be worried. So I obviously am going to take UTSA minus 2.5. I already locked that in. But I'm going to be watching this game. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's going to be a great game, too. Troy's a good team. And let's just remind ourselves that one of their 2 losses this year is from that Appalachian State Hail Mary game. And the 2 losses UTSA has, one against a decent Texas team and then a Houston game in the first game of the year, which UTSA should have won. And I guarantee would you win and if they played again. So I'm confident UTSA to get this dub. And maybe we'll bring back a fucking Cure Bowl victory. How about it?
I like it. You didn't touch on the total, though.
I don't math, Jimmy. I can't math. Football math is entirely too difficult for me, just like basketball math is. That's why I'm a baseball capper. We get to 7. That's an easy 1, 2, 3. I love that. I can't lean towards unders with UTSA just because of how high-flying their offense is. And I don't know shit about Troy besides that they can run the ball. So I ultimately lean towards the Roadrunner and I guess towards the over.
G. Martinez also liking the over. Let's hear what Bobano has to say about this one. We're in Exploria Stadium in Orlando, Florida for UTSA Troy. Take it away, Bobano.
This is no doubt one of the better bowl games, period.
Yep.
You could say one of the better bowl games, early bowl games. This is one of the better bowl games, period, especially pre-New Year's. I mean, these are 2 really good football teams that have had outstanding seasons that are both on, I think, 7-game win streaks, if I'm not mistaken, both teams coming into today. You've got an excellent defense on one side with the Troy Trojans and a terrific offense, specifically pass offense with UTSA and Frank Harris on the other. It's just an absolutely phenomenal football game. So I'm concerned after hearing Jose because and usually when I see a team with a bad bowl track record and a coach with a bad bowl track record, and that's what we have with Traylor and UTSA, they've struggled in the bowl games. You don't want to usually back them. I was reading some things where this team was showing the signs of a team that was sick and tired of losing bowl games and wants to finally get the bowl win, especially for Frank Harris here in his senior year, wanting to get the bowl win here for him. Now Jose's saying, I don't know if they're going to be all that excited. So I don't know what to make of that.
Oh, I just don't think that, college teams get really jumped up for bowl games anymore,
Yeah,
like 10 years ago, it was the fucking bee's knees. This is why you play college football. Now, Frank Harris collected, like I said, his 6-figure check to stay here for another year. It's great.
Yeah.
But I just ultimately have my doubts. But I will say I do like your angle on UTSA. Obviously 0-3 in bowl games. I think one of those was Frank Wilson. So technically Harris is, or for Trailer, 0-2 now. Last year the Texas Bowl, and then his first year. So I do like that kind of like, I want to get the monkey off my back. Let's get a bowl win for this program. It's never done this before. So I like that angle a lot. I think you can use that to his advantage.
I think so too, and that's what I think. I think we've got a team that, this is the one thing they're missing. They've got the Conference USA championships now, but they're missing the bowl win. And I do think there's an incentive in there to win this game. And I think this offense, with all due respect to what we've seen out of Troy's defense, Troy really, and I mean really, padded their stats down the stretch on horrendous offensive football teams. I mean, horrendous. They are a good defense, but I don't think they've seen anything as good as this, honestly. I don't think they've seen anything as good as what UTSA will throw at them. And this also leads to why I like the over in this game. I'm on UTSA money line, and I'm on the over as well. Troy, offensively, don't look now. They got their offense going down the stretch. The last couple Sun Belt games, Gunnar Watson was better in the throwing the football. Obviously, they got the great running back, Vidal, who's very capable. A balanced offense, but Watson got better throwing the ball. They put up big numbers down the stretch. They shredded Coastal's defense in the Sun Belt Championship game. We know UTSA defensively hasn't been spectacular this season. They've been diced at times on that side of the football. So I think all things considered, mid-50s, you could say that's a high total for Troy. It's a very low total for UTSA. I think it goes over that number.
I am very close to moving on the under, and that breakdown did concern me. So I will take a little bit more time on this. That was going to be my lone bet on the bowl games here, was the under.
Jimmy, you love betting on Frank Harris. I know you love betting on Frank Harris because when you bet on Frank Harris, good things happen.
If we were throwing out, offensive lines, put him to the side, defenses, put him to the side, and you were betting just on who's the better quarterback in this game, it's Frank Harris, obviously, in a landslide over Gunnar Watson. No doubt about that.
Great name. And I'll say this. I think you mentioned that. I think Frank Harris is one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the nation. College quarterbacks. He's not going to be an NFL quarterback. He's left-handed to begin with. So that's just brings him out of the running to begin with. But I just love this UTSA squad. They're the only thing I have left in my life. Oklahoma State, football's a joke. I don't care about basketball. The Celtics, sure. And the Red Sox are an embarrassment to everyone that is associated with them. So this is it right here. This is going to be a fun night. I'm going to have a smoke or two, Jimmy. I know you love that.
I don't.
Yeah, you saw how his head whipped around that quickly, guys. You guys saw that. I'm going to have a smoke or two, watch the game, have a beer or two, and maybe I'll call my friend again just to yell at Jose Trevino one more time.
Well, it's a big afternoon for young Jose One Hole Bouquet. UTSA -2.5, -108 for Jose Bobano. UTSA money line. The best I could find was -135.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Okay. And then the over 56 at -112. My plan on the under will need more scrutiny after Ian's breakdown, and then I'll decide whether I should move forward on it. And I do kind of like.
I'm not going to go 100% in the bowl season. If you like the under, bet it.
What happens when I have cappers I respect on the other side? It just needs more scrutiny. I'm going to sit with it after the show and decide. And not make it official right now and right here. Jose, I love it. Thank you for your impassioned breakdown of your Roadrunners. May they win their first bowl game this afternoon. And may God bless you in your cigarette smoking.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do love how whenever I bring up my cigarette habits now, the chat just erupts. The chat just erupts. But no, I've got one more plug before we get out of here.
Sure.
And Ick has asked me twice now, but I'm going to tell you guys to watch the video because you don't know what happened. Me and my pal, Ick Snizzle, he came to San Antonio a couple weeks ago now, a week or so ago. And me and Ick had a nice little golf outing. Oh. And of course, we had some wagering going back and forth during the golf outing. And that video will premiere today. So shout out to Ick. And here's a little 16-second preview to send you guys off into hockey. What are we doing next?
Yes, NHL.
Wow. That's probably the best drive I've ever hit in my life.
Loser's got a shotgun of beer? Okay.
I love it. I love it. No, sadly, we did not, Cindy. We did not have that set up. I apologize for you, to you, for not having your bison broken down appropriately. And this is a horrific NHL card.
Is that Xnizzle or Justin Thomas? I couldn't tell.
This is a horrible NHL card, but let's move to it. We've been on a big run here on the show in NHL. Just under 10 units in the last week, or maybe 8 days. But let's get to work here. These are three ugly hockey games. We'll start at 8 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Blackhawks 17-4, 3-7-2 on the road at Minnesota Wild, 16-11-2, 9-6-1 at home. Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Mrazek is listed. God, he is awful. Going up against Marc-Andre Fleury, who's losing his job as we speak as a Minnesota Wild netminder. And the Wild are playing really good defensive hockey right now. Chicago power play 23.3%, penalty killing 72.5%. The only thing anybody cares about is who gets Patrick Kane. Minnesota power play at 25%, penalty killing at 79.6%. Take a look at the line history here, and then we will just touch on a little bit of a table setting here for Bobano. But here we go. Chicago, Minnesota. This once was a great rivalry. The Minnesota Wild are minus 415 at Pinnacle. They opened up at minus 380. Look, I get it. Doesn't mean I want it. This total has not moved off the 6 at minus 110. Blackhawks on the second half of a back-to-back after losing their fifth straight game last night, 4-1 at home to Vegas. Minnesota comes in off their third straight win, 4-1 at home to Detroit on Wednesday. They've allowed 2 goals over their past 3 games on that 3-game winning streak, and we are still waiting for Ryan Hartman to return from injury, but they seem to have figured things out now. It took them a little while because they don't have a lot of depth at center. Eriksson Ek does a lot of good things, and this is the best I've ever seen him play. But take it away for us, Bobano. Is there anything that interests you at all in Blackhawks Wild?
In terms of this game, I do have a play. I cannot resist the opportunity to fade the Peter Mrazek. This guy is he's not good right now. He hasn't been good this year. I don't think he was great, last year when he played for the Leafs, the times he did play. His last 2 seasons have been shitty start, bad start, one good start, back to a shitty start, groin injury. Shitty start, comes back, shitty start, good start, shitty start, another groin injury. Comes back, horseshit game, one good game, another bad game, another groin injury. That's been basically his trajectory the last 2 seasons. And this groin continues to be an issue. Of course, he just came back from that. That's definitely concerning. Mrazek being able to withstand these groin injuries. It's been a problem, obviously, for him. I mean, his groin's being held together with duct tape and glue at this stage of his career, I think. But it's bad. He was lit up by Washington. He wasn't very good the start before that. At the same time, you're right about Minnesota. I'm worried about Minnesota's, did they bring that intensity again? But they have been. They played a Detroit team, not the lesser team that Chicago is, but they played a great defensive game. They're getting good goaltending from Fleury, especially Gustafsson lately. He had the shutout against Vancouver. He played well against Detroit the other night. I mean, he's just given up 1 goal in the last 2 starts. It's been very impressive to see him operate. No question about that. In net for the Wild. I'm going to go with Minnesota team total over 4, minus 110 at BetMGM. And again, 3.5 is too pricey for me. It's minus 170. At least they could land right on 4, but I don't think they score fewer than 4 tonight against the Chicago team and Mrazek in net, who's usually been giving up at least 4, if not 5. And of course, he gave up the 7 against Washington. So wild team total over 4 for me.
That is locked in for you, my friend. Let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern, the St. Louis Blues, 14-15-1, 8-8-0 on the road. The Calgary Flames, 13-11-6, 10-5-2. I have found the St. Louis Blues, as the most difficult team to cap this year. I just don't seem to have my finger on the pulse of when they're going to play well, when they're going to play defensively, or when they're going to light it up. I just don't seem to have them figured out. Their goaltending is a problem, and their forwards are not reliable and accountable defensively. I mean, they're young forwards in Thomas and Kyrou. Power play at 20.5%, penalty killing at 67.1%. When has a team, how can you have a team with Ryan O'Reilly and Colton Parayko and that has 67.1% penalty killing? It just doesn't, it shouldn't happen. And Bruby must be losing his mind over it. Calgary power play at 20.4%, penalty killing at 81.7%. I had interest in Calgary and was astonished at the minus 230 for a team that's lost 4 straight games. Now, it did open up at minus 195 at some books, if you could have got on them right away. But to get on it, it opened at minus 224 at Pinnacle. But to get on a team right away, you need to have complete faith in them. You need to know, there it is. It's available for me. I'm going to bet it. You almost without fully capping the game because you trust the team so much. And Flames coming off their 4th straight loss, 4-3 in a shootout to Vancouver on Wednesday night. They're not one of those teams. St. Louis on the second half of a back-to-back after winning their 2nd straight game, 4-3 at Edmonton last night in the shootout. We have seen teams now. Now, you used to not be able to do this because there was it was tough to play Calgary and Edmonton. It's no longer tough to play. No, it's tough to get wins because there's some offensive players. And Calgary still has some tough guys, but Edmonton is not a team that wears you down physically. You just have to watch out wherever McDavid and Draisaitl are at all times, but they don't hurt you. They don't physically hurt you. I don't know how tired you are. The travel's not an issue. I couldn't move on Calgary here, and I'm uncomfortable with totals when the Blues are involved. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Blues, Flames.
Yeah, this one is obviously we expect Thomas Greiss in net. I kind of want to back Calgary here. This has to be the spot. The Blues are on a back-to-back. They probably didn't deserve to win last night against Edmonton, but they did. I still don't think the Blues, even though they've won 2 in a row, I don't know if they can be as unimpressive as they were. You 1-0 win against Nashville, which isn't impressive. Predators can't put a puck in the ocean right now. And then against Edmonton, they actually got outplayed, should have lost that game. Darnell Nurse, what are you doing at the end there with that horrible giveaway in the final minute? St. Louis ties. And they're on the power play, Edmonton, as well, with that 3-2 lead. And then they just put it right on the stick of Tarasenko and 3-3, and then they win in a shootout. They have the goal called back. And, I mean, what a horseshoe the Blues had up their keisters last night in that game, finding a way to win that one. Now they're on a back-to-back. I don't want to lay this price, and I want nothing to do with like a money line or regulation or anything like that with Calgary. But I want to trust them to break out offensively tonight because the Blues have a bad goalie in net. He struggled all season. A defense that I still don't trust one game to the next. I think it's a situation here where you see the Calgary Flames put up goals. It's got me leaning toward another team total here in this game with the Calgary Flames. I'm just looking at the current price with that. I believe it's around minus 125. Let me see what Pinnacle has. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a better price there with the team total. Let me just see here. Over 3.5, minus 119 at Pinnacle. I'm going to lock that in. Flames team total over 3.5, minus 119. I think they're going to end up doing some damage here offensively. Like I said, we got to expect Greiss on the back-to-back. He's given up 4 goals in each of his last 2 starts, and he's given up 4+ goals, Greiss, in, if you go back even further than that, he has given up at least 4 goals in 5 of his last 6 starts. So basically, he would be the opponent when Thomas Greiss is in net. The opponent of the St. Louis Blues would be 5-1 to their team total over 3.5 in his last 6 starts. So that's what I'm going to go with. Then I don't have to worry about the Calgary Flames defense. I don't have to worry about the head case that is Markstrom. Great game one game, bad game the next. Vladar, I think, might be in tonight, kind of with him too. He's been up and down lately. Don't have to worry about anything in terms of Calgary defensively and what they give up. I'm going to focus on them finding their way to 4 goals against a goalie that's been giving up 4 goals routinely. So Flames team total.
Yeah, you got it locked in. If the Flames struggle to put up 4 goals against the Canucks, I just don't know what the Blues are going to give you. But all the stats are in your favor here. TJ saying St. Louis on back-to-back, allowing almost 4 goals a game. We know what Grice is doing. So everything is in your favor here, and I will cheer you.
We're going by the spot. They're coming off a loss to Vancouver. If anything's going to fucking say, hey, let's go, boys, losing at home to Vancouver should be it. So we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was a surprise because they came back and completely took over the game after they were down 2-0. All right, Blues, Flames, Bobano on the Flames team total over 3.5. Lee Davis looking at the Wild Flames Islanders parlay. I looked at that too, but I'm a little uncomfortable. When you have a big favorite, notice Bobano's not on the Flames in regulation. When you have a big favorite, you have to have enormous faith in them, and then I can't do that with the Flames. Chris Rock says, I live in Calgary. Fade the Flames. 9:30 p.m. Eastern, the final game on the board here. New York Islanders, 17-12-1, 8-6-1 on the road to Arizona Coyotes, 9-14-4, 3-2-1 at home. There are these teams that we thought were going to be god-awful that have not succeeded fading them at home. And there's only a 6-game sample size for the Coyotes at Mullett Arena, but Vejmelka's the real deal. There's times where he will stand on his head and win games on his own. Sorokin 10-9, but 2.36 goals against average, 9.25 save percentage, 2 shutouts. He's been excellent. Islanders power play 22.2%, penalty killing 81.1%. Arizona special teams have been very good this year. They had a top 5 power play for a long time. It's struggled lately, and it's strange that it seemed to start struggling as soon as Chychrun came back. But Arizona power play at 21.4%, penalty killing 76.3%. Islanders coming off their second straight loss, 4-3 in the shootout at Boston on Tuesday night. They played well. And the Coyotes had their 2-game winning streak snapped to 3-2 loss at San Jose on Tuesday night. Both teams fresh here. Is there anything that interests you in this spot, Bobano?
Tempted by the Desert Dogs, believe it or not. They're 2-0 at home since they came back home after that ridiculous 1-month road trip. They play with great energy, great spirit, great intensity. Excellent wins against Boston. Well, Philly, not so much, but they beat Philly at home. They beat Boston at home. Now, you can also say they didn't deserve to beat Boston. What were the shots in that game? 46-18, something like that for Boston. But Vejmelka stood on his head. He was outstanding. But they're still playing good enough, hard hockey at home. So it's not an easy game. I want to take Arizona. I do. The one thing that might hold me off, though, is the Islanders, even though I don't trust them, they've lost 2 in a row, shut out by Carolina, losing to Boston in a shootout, and they've actually lost 5 of their last 7. They're only 2-5 in their last 7 games. They're not necessarily playing very good at the moment, but they did get shut out at home by Arizona 2-0, and I was on Arizona that night. It was a flat spot for the Islanders, and they lose at home to the Coyotes 2-0. Coyotes were a plus 250 dog in that game, and I was on them that night. I'm tempted to be on them again here. So the revenge situation kind of might keep me off, but I'm really close to taking Arizona again here because they've shown me some energy. They've shown me some solid play at home. They've seemed to be invigorated by this home crowd. I mean, they've been on the road. They haven't been good. They lost to San Jose. It's funny. They beat Boston and Philly at home. They go on the road against San Jose and they lose that game. So there's something about Mullett Arena. We could bitch all we want about how it's an embarrassment to the league and how the dressing rooms are just such a disgrace the way they were early in the season. Now they've fixed them up since then. But what you can't deny is that little bandbox of an arena is giving that team a little, energy now. And they say it's loud in there, even if it's 5,000 people. The student section in that place is, giving them a little bit of a lift. So, and it's not like the Islanders are playing in the kind of form right now that makes you want to lay minus 180 with them. And don't look now, Sorokin, everybody's Vezina front runner a couple weeks ago, has come back down to earth here in recent games. So definite hard lean Arizona. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but lean that way.
Sorokin has looked, there's going to be ebbs and flows in any season, but he has not looked as dominant. Interesting look from Slatsy on the under. The problem does come down to Sorokin. I just haven't liked what I've seen from him of late, but maybe against the Coyotes. This could be a spot for him. The Coyotes against New Jersey, there were 10 goals scored. Against St. Louis, 11 goals scored. Oh, sorry, that's the Islanders. Jesus, God, sorry. late night. Against the Oilers, 10 goals scored in the Coyotes game, 9 against Philadelphia. I just don't trust what I've seen defensively out of these teams, even though I have a vividness bias that the Islanders play tight defensive hockey, and I'm just going to let that go. Stimmy on the under 6 at -120. It'd certainly be something that I'd be interested in. Yeah, Dana, I got the 17.5 too. So I did pull out the win live betting. I lost the 6.5. I got 9.5 and 17.5. And Brizzy came in with me on the 17.5. But there you have it. I don't. This is just such an ugly card. I'd rather start looking at Saturday, and that's what I'm going to do. But I will cheer on those of you on the under in this one. I will look out to see if Bobano moves on the Coyotes. Bobano's on the Flames team total over 3.5 at -119. And he is on the Wild team total over 4 at -110. And I want to keep winning very badly in NHL. So I'm just going to focus on Saturday at this point. All right, let's move into college basketball, Bobano. And it's been very good. We're both almost at the exact same spot. You are 18 and 11 on the show, hitting at 62.1% plus 5.73 units. And ROI just a taint hair under 20% with an average line of -112. I'm 30 and 18 at 62.5% plus 10.25 units with an ROI over 21.35%, an average line -110. And my losses, this is how I know I'm running nice and I'm seeing things clearly, is because my losses are by just the tiniest sliver, and I'm not having any bad days. I haven't had a worse day than 2 and 3 all season long in college basketball. So again, the quantity of action is smaller. And this is sort of the low shack style of capping. You know, you have an expert on that you trust in Bobano. You have a group of cappers in the chat that I trust vehemently. And I set a table and I listen and try to study the market. So it's working and we'll keep working. I picked out 10 games for us and I found it pretty easy. I know that there's some ugliness here. Again, Bobano, is this the only place we can see your college basketball action? Are you not doing a show today?
No show today. Yeah, no show today. It's just too small of a card. So, no show today. We'll be back tomorrow morning, though, with Dabby Cab and Connor Mack for a big Saturday college basketball card.
Huge. And then Dabby Cab is doing the Kansas game. I think it's Jayhawks Hoosiers, I believe, right after your he's going to – so live bet stream right after the NCAA Pub Hub. All right, let's get to work, my friend. We start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Xavier Musketeers 8-3, opening up their Big East account here at Georgetown. Hoyas 5-6, also opening up their Big East account. Isaiah Scurry, what's happening, my guy? Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Take a look at the cash flow, set a quick table, and hear what Bobano has to say about this. Let's move over here. We go. Xavier, Georgetown. There are some big games because we still have Creighton, Marquette. Creighton in the midst of a 5-game losing streak when we thought they were a top 5 team in the country. It's very fun capping. Georgetown opening up as 11-point dogs. They're 10.5-point dogs right now. From a total perspective, it opened up at 157. We've dropped it down to 155. Let's just see. Pinnacle opened this at last night. So if Pinnacle opens a game in the morning, we'll look at what BetOnline did yesterday. If they're going to open it up yesterday, we'll just use them. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one and see if there's enough tickets in for all these games. And there is. We have enough for all of these games, except maybe Chicago State, Southern Illinois. Here we have the only spot on the board with – actually, there's two spots on the board with implied line value. And this is one of them, Georgetown. They're given 50% implied line value. The market's moved a half point in their direction. Only 44% of the tickets are on them, but 53% of the cash is on them. We know that 96% of the cash is on the under. We don't have a ticket count there. Xavier comes in off their 4 straight wins, 79-59 at home over Southern, as 23-point favorites on Tuesday. And it was sloppy, ugly game. Southern turned the ball over 20 times. Xavier turned the ball over 19 times, but they still won big, but did not cover. Georgetown comes in off their third loss in 4 games, and it was ugly. An 83-64 loss at Syracuse. They were 8-point dogs. They lose by 19. They are well rested. They've been off for 6 days, and Xavier comes in off that game on Tuesday. Take it away for us here, Bobano, the Musketeers against the Hoyas.
Yeah, this is Big East play now. Conference season is here. So make sure you're aware of that. Things can definitely be different in terms of what we expect here. Even though I always say it, teams that struggle in conference play, doesn't mean it's or non-conference play doesn't mean it's not going to be the same when conference play begins. So keep that in mind. I could only lay the points. I mean, Georgetown's really bad, but I don't love doing that in spots like this. Where non-conference, you're going into conference play. The teams know each other a little bit more. Although this is Sean Miller now back at Xavier, so for his first year back at the helm there. So you do have to keep in mind that maybe that changes things a little bit. But I don't trust Georgetown right now at all. Their defense is as bad as it's always been under Patrick Ewing. That hasn't changed. Which is bad news against Xavier. They're a very good shooting team, 50.7% from the field, 40.8% from 3-point range. On the flip side here, Xavier has been a little bit not great at times defensively. I think the over's kind of appealing to me, but it's a high number where it is right now. I mean, we're seeing it up in the mid 150s. I'm not sure I'm crazy about betting an over with the number that high in a conference opener such as this, but I certainly lean that way. But nothing I'm going to make official. It would be road favorite and over or nothing.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I've lost trying to bet an under that I thought was too high with Georgetown already this year. And, I kind of like them losing at Syracuse so badly and having 6 days off and focusing on their first conference game. I think that it's a good point Lee Davis making. UConn coming in on Tuesday. They could be worried about this. Smith Legacy says Bovada has moved this to 11. I'd like to see actually where the other books have this as well before So, yeah, Bet Chris and Bookmaker at 11 as well. But then Heritage and some books that we trust at 10.5. I don't want Georgetown. And I guess Xavier played sloppy, ugly basketball. And if you trust a coaching staff, like I did with the Utes, whenever they play sloppy, I bet them the next game. Because I know that they're going to be laid into and they're going to be sharp and they're going to and I guess with the coaching staff of Xavier, you can trust that too. This makes me uncomfortable. I'm going to just put Georgetown question mark here just in case I don't have enough action on this card, but I don't want to be involved with them. All right, let's move on. Next up on the board, Jameer Nelson Jr.'s Delaware Blue Hens, 6-4, but 0-3 on the road. At the Princeton Tigers, 8-3, 3-1 at home. We're in Princeton, New Jersey, Jadwin Gymnasium for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have this opening up as Princeton was 8-point favorites. Now they are 7-point favorites. This total opened up at 143. It is now 142.5, and that drop just happened. I guess it happened a little over 2 hours ago. So let's take a look at the cash flow in this one. Here we go. We have 1,571 tickets in. 51% of the tickets and 87% of the cash is on the Blue Hens. We don't have a total here. Delaware comes in off their third straight win, 75-64 at home over Siena on Sunday as 4-point favorites. It was an easy cover. And Jameer Nelson Jr. went for 30 in the win. Princeton had their 8-game winning streak snapped in a 70-64 loss to Iona on Tuesday at a neutral court. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Delaware, Princeton.
Princeton off a loss to Iona, but Iona's pretty good, 70-64. That was their first loss of the year. I wonder if there's a hangover from that. There very well could be, in my opinion. It hasn't been exactly a murderer's row schedule for the Delaware Blue Hens this year. That's something that you definitely have to keep in mind. No question about that. Princeton, obviously, has faced a couple of good. Well, they faced a couple of good mid-major teams, but nothing significant. I think in this point spread range here where you got Delaware 7-point road dogs. I think they're worth a look here. I like the dog. I'm making that my first official play here. Delaware plus the points. You look at Delaware, they've won 3 in a row, beat Davidson, 69-67. That was a solid win. A very good Siena team. I think Siena is going to be maybe the second best team in the Metro Atlantic this year after Iona. Delaware beats them 75-64. It was a nice, solid performance from them in that victory. They're starting to play a little bit better. The offense was kind of bad in the 2 losses they suffered, especially the one against Cornell. Couldn't get things going, but better the last 2 games, 77, 75 points. They shot better than 50% in the victory against Siena. And like I said, that Siena team's pretty solid, all things considered. So I like Delaware here. Road underdog, getting a nice number here, +7. Nice little situation where we're starting to see them play better basketball. And Princeton, to me, not the kind of team I trust laying a number like this. So I like Delaware.
+7 at -103 at 5 dimes, and get your 7s while you can. 6.5s are coming. I want to join you on this look with the Blue Hens. They're playing good basketball right now, and they've had a couple rough games on the road, but they've had at least 3 games on the road. So they've experienced it. Now they come in with a 3-game winning streak, and I know that they're going to want to try and get their first win on the road. I like it. Smith Legacy saying a sneaky under in Princeton. Says Princeton not scoring like last year. Their defense could give Delaware problems. All right, so I like it. We have Bobano on the board with the Delaware Blue Hens, and I'm going to join him. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Dartmouth Big Green, 4-8, 1-4 on the road at the South Florida Bulls, 4-6, 2-4 at home. We're at the Yuling Center in Tampa, Florida for this one. Let's take a look at the line history that we have for this. We have USF opening up as 10.5-point favorites. They are now 11-point favorites. This total opened up at 131.5 and is now 133. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have a similar, or not quite as but 51% of the tickets on South Florida and 68% of the cash, and the market clearly moving in their direction a little bit. With Delaware, it's 51% of the tickets and 87% of the cash, and market clearly moving in their direction. For the total here in Dartmouth, South Florida, we don't have much information on many totals. This is one we have information. 45% of the tickets and 93% of cash on the under, and yet it's gone up 1.5 points. So it's tricky, very tricky. Let's hear what you have to say. Oh, Dartmouth comes in off their 3rd straight loss, 67-59 at Boston University on Tuesday as 7-point dogs. South Florida comes in off their 2nd straight win and 4th in 5 games. They seem to be getting their act together. That was a nice win, 72-69 at Northern Iowa on Monday as 2.5-point dogs. So take it away for us here. Dartmouth, South Florida.
Yeah, this is a pass for me. I mean, I don't want anything to do with Dartmouth. Dartmouth's not a team I trust on the road. I've seen them lose to a bad Central Connecticut State team on the road, lose to Boston University on the road, fail to cover both games. Neutral court. I don't know. Grambling is because a scrappy team. You shouldn't lose 73-49 to them either. Dartmouth, I mean, you talk about a team that's got problems right now. I mean, shooting's been bad. They're terrible free throw shooting team. That's a worry. And I like the way South Florida, I should say, is trending. 4 wins in their last 5 games. I've been on them a couple of times as well. I took them against St. Joe's. I took them against Northern Iowa earlier this week. I mentioned that on the Net Profit Show as my best bet. They went to Northern Iowa, a nice road win, 72-69. They're still playing that same pretty solid defense, physicality. They've always brought that, but suddenly they're starting to shoot the ball a little bit better. Are they a great shooting team? No, they're still in the 200s and field goal percentage and points per game, but it's better than it used to be. They used to be one of the worst offensive teams in college basketball. The problem is it could be a little flat spot for South Florida after the big road win, but Dartmouth's bad enough that I don't want anything to do with them, so it's an easy game to stay away from, and I still have the leery vibes of laying this many points with South Florida, even though they're playing better.
Interesting that you think it could be a flat spot, because I was with Johnny Guns' thought process on the first half, -6. It is interesting, though, Johnny, that the full game spread is moving bigger, and the first half has gone from 6.5 down to 6.
Yep.
So that's a little confusing. I'd like just to take a quick look at Dartmouth's last South Florida's last few home games here. I thought that maybe that win over Northern Iowa was something where now they're going to come home and start really rolling as a basketball team, because they're still just 4-6 on the year, and they're only 2-4 at home. They've been bad at home, but we've
to Billy Friedrich's point about the injuries with USF, there's only one significant contributor of that group of players that's injured, and that's Keyshawn Bryant. He averages almost double figures a game. Everybody else is a bit contributor on this team. They're bench players, but they don't, factor in a whole lot to the success. So the Keyshawn Bryant's the key guy you want to watch out for. See if he plays tonight. I don't think he is. I think last I checked, no, he's questionable. So he actually still might play.
This one came out at 8:02 in the morning. Why don't we take a look at what BetOnline did? But yeah, Johnny, it opened up at 6.5, and it wasn't. It was slightly juiced to Dartmouth, and it lasted there for 21 minutes before it moved to 6. So why don't we just see? And that's not comforting. Let's just see what BetOnline did. They also opened up at 8:10 a.m. So no help there. God, I really felt like this was a spot where they were going to now get on a bit of a run against some weak competition. I'm going to write USF first half, but I'm going to follow with question marks here. Troy saying USF first half would be his only look on the slate. Billy Friedrich says USF 2-4 against the spread at home. Dartmouth 1-5-1 against the spread on the road. Pass. And Terrell Riley saying Backwood. All right. Speaking of Backwood, NBA is next with Dutch Boy Fresh. So that is coming up. Let's move on here. 7 p.m. Eastern. Florida Gulf Coast Eagles 8-3, but 2-3 on the road at the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. 6-4, but 5-0 at home. We're at the Riley Center in St. Bonaventure, New York. Let's take a look at what we have for a line history here in this one. Where's the Bonnies here? There we go. Florida Gulf Coast, St. Bonaventure. We have the Bonnies opening up as 4-point favorites, now 3.5. And this got down to 3. So clearly there's interest in Florida Gulf Coast or disinterest in the Bonnies. 134.5 is the total opening, and it's dropped to 133. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have just over 1,000 tickets in, and 15% of the tickets, but 74% of the cash is on the Bonnies. And yet the market moving away from them. That's confusing. Florida Gulf Coast comes in off their 6th win in 7 games, 67-62 on Saturday over Mercer as 6-point favorites. The Bonnies coming off their 2nd loss in 3 games, and it was pretty ugly. They were 6.5-point dogs to Iona in the Basketball Hall of Fame Invitational at Barclays in Brooklyn, and they lost badly, 72-57. Is this a home bounce back spot? I guess you would think so, but I don't know why the books are giving you an even more appealing number. Take it away for us, Bobano. Maybe you can shed some light. Florida Gulf Coast, St. Bonaventure.
St. Bonaventure, yeah. I mean, lost to Iona. Boy, everybody's losing Iona on today's card. Princeton did in their last game, and St. Bonaventure did in their last game, 72-57. Lost to Buffalo as well. And then they had a loss early in the year against South Dakota State. Remember, this is a team that lost everybody from last year. Every key contributor, that very good yet still underachieving St. Bonaventure team. I'm still shocked they didn't make the tournament last year. I'm shocked they couldn't make it last year. That was such a good team. It's just unfortunate. But now this year they're kind of starting over from scratch, and it's been a team that got off to some struggles early in the year. But this is a very well-coached team. Schmidt's done a nice job there. And you are still seeing signs overall of them turning it around. And point spread-wise, they've been better, of course, 5-2. 6-2 rather, ATS in their last 8 games, coming off that loss against Iona. I do think there's a bounce back spot here for St. Bonaventure. Florida Gulf Coast, they've won 6 of their last 7 games. You question the competition just a little bit, though. Drexel has been bad. Kansas City, Northern Kentucky, Georgia Southern. FIU is not a bad team, actually. They beat them. They got blown out on the road by Florida Atlantic, though, in their last game. I think all things considered, I like St. Bonaventure here at this number, and I'm going to make them official here as a short home favorite in this game, right around -3. Actually, you can get a -3, I believe, at Heritage right now. They're betting Florida Gulf Coast, but it won't be me. I like the Bonnies here, and 5-0 at home. That's always been a good home court. I think it's a nice, cheap, low, reasonable number here.
Yeah, and there's 3s almost everywhere. The only books that are hanging the hook here at this point are Pinnacle and Bookmaker and BetChris. So we'll give you that 3. I've got it here at minus 110. So Bobano locked in on the Bonnies minus 3 at minus 110. I'm going to be off of that spot. Let's move on to the next game we were breaking down. 8 p.m. Eastern, Austin Peay Governors. 6-5, 1-2 on the road at the Murray State Racers. 6-4, 3-0 at home. We're at CFSB Center in Murray, Kentucky. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with here for this one. We have Murray State opening at minus 7.5, now at minus 9. This came out at 8:26 this morning. Let's just see what BetOnline did, because there's some books that, so BetOnline put this out yesterday at 1 p.m., and Murray State was minus 6. So there's been a 3-point move to Murray State at BetOnline. Let's just focus on BetOnline because they got it out the earliest here. From a total perspective, it opened up at 131.5 and is up to 133.5, but it did get up to 134.5 and had pretty much immediate buyback from underbettors, and it moved 2.5 points in an hour and 20 minutes, and now it's coming back up. So we've seen some U-shaped movement on this. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one, Austin Peay, Murray State. We have just 963 tickets in, and it's all Murray State cash. 82% of the tickets, 87% of the cash, and the market moving heavily in their direction. Murray State comes in off their third win in 4 games, 66-65 at home over Chicago State on Tuesday, as 12-point favorites. It was not a good performance by them, but they got the win. Austin Peay comes off its third straight win on Monday, 86-61 at home over Div 3 Lindsey Wilson College. Mighty Lindsey Wilson College. They have 3 wins against Div 1 competition, so it's not like they're only beating these, Div 3 colleges, but nothing to write home about. They won by 25 at home. Take it away, and that was on Monday, and the Murray State game was on Tuesday. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Austin Peay, Murray State.
I mean, big scheduling, strength of schedule advantage for Murray State. They faced a much tougher slate than Austin Peay. They're better than Austin Peay. I could only lay the points, but I don't want to lay this many. And we've seen Murray State, have some issues, covering as favorites at home lately. They've had a couple times, Illinois State, they were 10.5-point favorites. They barely won in overtime. And you mentioned the last game against Charleston Southern. This Murray State team is playing some pretty solid defense. Their offense, though, has been shaky. I mean, they're only shooting 44% from the field, woeful from 3-point range, which is definitely something that's a mild concern. Austin Peay is a better free throw shooting team. I think Murray's better, can win the game. I just don't want to lay 8. And the thing that too keeps me off Murray is Austin Peay. They've faced nobodies here the last few games. They're a team that definitely has their issues offensively at times as well. But you look at early in the season, and we just talked about how South Florida's improved. They went on the road to South Florida and they beat them 62-60, Austin Peay. So they've shown at least a couple examples. Road underdog against a team that we think on paper is better than them. They've been able to rise up and get the job done, the Governors. So for that reason, I'm going to stay off. I wanted Murray, but not at this number, not with Austin Peay showing that ability early in the season to beat a pretty good not pretty good, but a solid improving South Florida team. So I'm passing the game.
I understand. I completely understand. Let's move on for us. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, Southern Jaguars, 4-6, 1-5 on the road at Youngstown State. Penguins, 7-4, 3-1 at home. We're in Youngstown, Ohio for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. Youngstown State opening up minus 8.5, and it has not moved a cent. Let's see what BetOnline did with this one. They opened this up yesterday at 1:28 p.m. So we have movement there, and a lot of movement. That's why it's so important it's funny, Pinnacle just sitting on their hands, because BetOnline opened this at minus 7, and Youngstown State at midnight was minus 10. It's come back to minus 8, but that's pretty wild market movement. So why don't we stay on BetOnline here for the total, opening up at 154.5, now at 152.5. Let's take a look at what Pinnacle did with the total, opening 152.5, now at 152. Okay, let's take a look at the cash flow for this one, the Jaguars and the Penguins. This is the second spot on the board that they have given line value, and the line value is on Youngstown State. 69% of the tickets and 91% of the cash. 97% of cash on the under. We're talking about a very small sample size of tickets, but 61% of the tickets, 69% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on Youngstown State, and it's gone up to 10 and come back. Take it away. Oh, Southern comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 79-59 at Xavier on Tuesday as 23-point dogs. We already talked a little bit about that game because they were very sloppy, 20 turnovers, but Xavier turned the ball over 19 times as well, and Southern covered. Youngstown State had their 2-game winning streak snapped in an 81-79 loss at home to Ohio on Sunday as 4-point favorites. This is, I guess, expecting a bounce-back spot for them. Take it away for us, Jaguars, Penguins.
Yeah, this one interesting here with Southern, where they've actually covered numbers early in the year for a team that's, one of those, weaker conference teams, against UNLV. They lost by 10. Arizona, mighty Wildcats, 28-point dogs, lost by 17. St. Mary's, they got inside that number. Those are good basketball teams they played. They covered in defeat. They beat Cal. Now, California's no good, but still, you give them credit. They covered against Xavier in their last game, but you look at this schedule. They were on a neutral court. They were on the road to start the year. UNLV, Arizona, St. Mary's, Cal. Neutral court for 2 games. Home for 1 game. At Louisiana Tech next game. Back home for 1 game. Up to Cincinnati to play Xavier. There's been a lot of travel in just 2 games now after that. Here they go to Youngstown State. That catches up with you at some point. And I think it could catch up. And I like Youngstown this year. I like them offensively, that's for sure. I know they've still got their issues at times getting stops on the defensive end of the court. I won't deny that. But this team can flat out shoot it. 49% from the field, 28 field goal percentage in the country, 41st in the country from 3-point range. Southern still, defensively is not the greatest team by any stretch of the imagination. We've got an elite free throw shooting team as well, Youngstown, in this game at 76.6% from the field. I'm going to lay the 8 here. Bet online has -8, -110. I'm going to lay the 8 with Youngstown State. I think this is where it catches up, all these road games, all this travel for Southern. The defense still, I think, is going to have a hard time containing this Youngstown attack. Honestly, I'll say this about the total. I'm puzzled why it's going down because Southern's going to push pace. Youngstown's gone over the total in 5 straight games, and now I'm getting a better number. Look, I was leaning over at the opener, and now I'm getting a better number, 152 at Bookmaker. I'm going to add the over as a bet in this game as well at 152.
All right, let's lock that in for you. Over 152. What's the juice on that?
-110.
-110. Yeah, I get why you're backing Youngstown here. It's probably no need to take them first half, because if you're part of your angle is on the travel schedule for Southern, then you want to be fading them in the second half. So
yeah.
This all makes sense to me. And, I can understand if you weren't concerned about the travel, you'd look at what Southern has done against the spread wise and think that 10 is too much. So you have sharp action moving it to 10, and then you have cappers studying it saying, well, that's too much. But I think this makes sense to me. I'm very interested in moving on Youngstown with you. It's 8.5 if I wanted to bet it right now. So I've got asterisks beside this look. Let's move on. Chicago State Cougars, 8 p.m. Eastern, 3-9. All 9 losses have come on the road where they are right now at Southern Illinois. Saluki, 7-4, 4-1 at home at the Banterra Center in Carbondale, Illinois. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Chicago State in action here. Where is the game? There we go. The big move towards Chicago State here. Pinnacle opened this up at 15.5. It's now 14. But Bet Online opened this up at 17. So Chicago State were 17-point dogs, and now they're down to 14.5. Totals wise, opened up at 134, now down to 131.5. The initial move was to the over. It was 134.5 at midnight. Since then, it's just come down and continued to come down at Bet Online. Let's see what Pinnacle's done with this total here. Down to 1. So they've had very little movement, but they also jumped it up initially. That was at 8 this morning. They moved it all the way up to 134, and then since then there's been buyback towards the under. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Chicago State going up against Southern Illinois. Just 811 tickets in. Really no help here. Just that 65% of the tickets are on Southern Illinois. 99% of the cash right now is on the over with a very small sample size of tickets. And the market initially trusting that and then falling off of it. Take it away for us here. Chicago State, Southern Illinois.
So Chicago State's not that fade they used to be, honestly. I mean, they're 7-3 ATS this year in their last 10 games. I think they've played 10 games or close. No, they've played 12. 7-3 ATS their last 10. They've covered 3 in a row. They lost at Murray State by a point. They took Tennessee Martin to overtime. They beat Southern Indiana at home. This has been a competitive outfit lately. Chicago State. You got an in-state battle going into this game. I'm taking the points with Chicago State, Jimmy. I'm doing it. I mean, I think when you look at it here, this is a Chicago State team that is totally undervalued. They were horrendous 2 years ago, horrendous much of last year, but even toward the end of last year, their play started to improve a little bit. Is there still problems with this team? Yeah. I mean, offensively, they're still pretty weak, but they're at least a little bit better than they were at that end of the basketball court. They've improved a little bit. They were a 300s in terms of offense last year. They're actually 275 points per game, 276 in field goal percentage. That's not lighting the world on fire, but it's a whole lot better than Chicago State Cougars used to be offensively. And when you look at the Southern Illinois Salukis, I don't think this team is spectacular. They're 7-4, but they've done it against a weaker. All the wins were against weaker competition for the most part. The Oklahoma State win was a good one, but outside of that, Tennessee State, Cal Baptist, Evansville's bad. Alcorn State, and they didn't cover in that game. In fact, they've been double-digit chalk twice. 3 times Southern Illinois this year has been double-digit favorites, and in all 3 games, actually, there was the one game early in the year, Little Rock. They were 14.5-point favorites. They covered in that game. Okay, they've been double-digit favorites 4 times this year, 1-3 against the spread in those 4 games. Not the kind of team we trust to lay points with. And Chicago State's perked up. I'm on the road underdog here.
Let's hook it up for you. Chicago State coming off that second straight loss, but we talked about it in the Murray State breakdown.
There is some fear there that 2 straight tough losses in a row. They hit the wall and maybe they get romped tonight, but they're a competitive bunch, and hopefully that's the case again.
Southern Illinois comes off their second straight win. Both teams played on Tuesday, but it was against Div 2 Lincoln Blue Tigers. So talking about the weak competition. There's Trot Wham in the house. What up, Wham Bam? So let's line shop for you and see what we can get you for Chicago State right now. 14.5 at -107.
That's good.
Yep. That's the best that I see. So Bobano is locked in with the Cougars. Smith Legacy on the other side, liking this spot here with the Salukis. Market clearly moving towards the Cougars. This is an interesting one, but let's lock Bobano in here. He's on the Chicago State plus 14.5 at -107. All right, there's Dabby Cab in the house. What up, Dabra Cadabra? Let's move on. Oh God, I just seeing Dabby Cab, I just immediately go back to missing that first half under by a half point with Wisconsin scoring 31 fucking points. Just unreal. Missouri State Bears 4-6, 1-2 on the road. This was our Deacon Mike's spot where he was hammering Missouri State Bear team total overs last year with great success. Those times are over. Going up against Oral Robert Golden Eagles, 8-3, undefeated at home at the Mabee Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's see what we are dealing with here from a line history standpoint. We have Oral Roberts opening up at -7. They're now -8. From a total standpoint, opening up at 145.5, now 144.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. And we have 1,419 tickets in, 82% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on Oral Roberts. So a lot of money coming on Oral Roberts. At least they moved the line a point. Let's see what Bet Online has done with this line. They moved it just a point as well, but it did get up to 9.5. So there's been buyback on the Bears. Missouri State comes in off their third straight loss, 65-61 home setback at Purdue Fort Wayne on Saturday. Oral Roberts comes in off its fifth straight win on Monday, 84-70 at home over Liberty as 3-point favorites. Take it away for us, Bobano, Missouri State, Oral Roberts.
Yeah, this one is, I like Oral Roberts a lot. I don't always love laying points with them, but they are good at home. I mean, 6-0, perfect record on their home floor. They beat a very good Liberty team and then crushed Central Arkansas their last two home games. I mean, I don't want to step in front of Oral Roberts at home here. And you look at Missouri State, they're off 3 consecutive losses. They lose to Bradley. They get blown out by St. Mary's. The loss to Purdue Fort Wayne, 65-61 in their last game. Like, this is Oral Roberts or nothing for me, I think. But the one thing with Oral is their defense comes and goes, and that's sometimes tricky to lay points with. But, the last 3 games during this streak of theirs, we've seen better defensive play from them. So gives me the confidence a little bit they can be better, in the defensive end of the basketball court. The number's gone up here. Oral Roberts up to -8. I'm going to pump the brakes, making this one official, but I definitely lean to the home favorite.
Yeah, I feel like they're just going to come out strong here after that performance against Liberty. They're just, as you said, 6-0 at home. A market on the market moving towards them. If you're concerned about 40 minutes of
you can take them first half. Yep, that's always the option. Yep.
That's what I'm looking at right now. Smith Legacy saying Missouri State is scoring challenged. Oral Roberts first half will be on the board for me. Oral Roberts first half. Let's roll on. We have, I believe we have 2 games left before we get into NBA with Dutch Boy Fresh. 8:30 p.m. Eastern next up. Creighton Blue Jays 6-5 all of a sudden, Bobano. Just wild. 0-0 in the Big East, opening up their Big East account against the Marquette Golden Eagles, who are 8-3, opening up their Big East account as well. And we get the Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for Marquette basketball. Let's take a look at the line history here in this big one. We have Creighton opening up as 4-point dogs. They're now 3-point dogs. This was open 5:58 p.m. yesterday. BetOnline would have brought it out 4 hours before. 4 hours before. They opened Creighton up at 2.5. That's a big difference. So they open up 2.5. Pinnacle opens up at 4. So clearly Pinnacle was concerned about Marquette action, and maybe they pushed it too far as it's come back to 3. From a total standpoint, this opened up at 154. It's now at 153. BetOnline opened it at 152.5. It's now 153.5. We go over to the cash flow right now, and we have, pull this up. We have 2,585 tickets in, 64% of tickets, 92% of the cash on Creighton, 59% of tickets, 57% of cash on the over. There's Tease in the house. Great to see you, Tease. Take it away for us here, Bobano. The big game on the board, Blue Jays versus the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, so this is one of those spots where, it feels like it's a buy low spot for Creighton. I kind of want to take Creighton here, but I got to see if this guy Kalkbrenner is going to play. I mean, he is that much of a difference maker. They've just not been the same without him. 2 games they've lost. The Nebraska game, they lost without him too, but BYU game he didn't play. Arizona State, he didn't play in that game either. Definite concerns right now about Creighton, where they're at. I mean, defensively, they haven't been nearly as sharp. They're on a 5-game losing streak. Confidence waning a little bit. If he's in there, though, I'm tempted because they've been a good road team overall. They've covered actually 7 of their last 8 on the road, and maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need to get away in order to get back on track here. But yeah, I've been disappointed with them. No doubt the offense has cooled off after that terrific start to the year. They've still got good players. Like, they have Ryan Nembhard's a good guard, and Shireman is capable. Trey Alexander. This is definitely a team that should be able to be offensively get better than they've been the last couple games. But Kalkbrenner is that low post presence that they dearly miss right now. And, unless I know he's back, if he's back, I'm on Creighton here because I think it's a nice little buy low situation here for the Blue Jays, off 5 straight losses. And if you actually look at the series history here, they've done very well against Marquette. In fact, they've won 7 of the last 8 head-to-head meetings versus Marquette. They've dominated this series. This has constantly been a good matchup for them, and I want to take the points. I want to take Creighton here in a buy low situation. is I think this team's better than they've shown, but I need Kalkbrenner in there. So it's basically where I'm at right now.
Waiting on the Kalkbrenner news. T saying Kalkbrenner is a difference maker. Lee Davis saying opposite sides of the spectrum in terms of momentum. There you have it. Creighton Marquette, no action until we find out the Kalkbrenner news. Let's go to the last game here for us in NCAA basketball before we head into NBA. Weber State Wildcats 3-7, 0-4 on the road at Cal Poly Mustangs 5-4, 4-1 at home. We're in San Luis Obispo here at the home of the Mustangs. Let's take a look at the line history here. There's our guy, Marquand Fitz. What's happening, man? Let's take a look at the situation here for the night game, Weber State, Cal Poly. We have this opening up as Cal Poly 5.5-point favorites, and it's back there. But it did get all the way down to 4. So let's see what, and then came back. Let's see what BetOnline is doing here. BetOnline opened this up at 5.5, and they did the same thing. They brought it to 4, and it's back at 5.5 right now. So move over to the total, opening up at 129, got all the way down to 126.5, but it's back up to 128. So let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Lee Davis is backing Cal Poly here in this spot. There's 1,622 tickets in. 70% of the tickets, 73% of cash on Cal Poly. It's an interesting move towards Weber State here. They snapped their 4-game losing streak on Saturday, but it took a game against Div 2 St. Martin Saints to snap it. They did win 82-58 at home. Cal Poly had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 74-68 loss at Washington on Tuesday as 12.5-point dogs. They're playing good basketball. I can't understand what that move towards Weber State was. I don't know. I don't get it. Take it away for us here, Bovano. Maybe you can shine some light. Weber State, Cal Poly.
I can't. I mean, I don't get it either. Cal Poly's been a team I've taken a couple of times. Washington plus the points the other night, earlier this week. I was on them 12.5. They lost by 6. They were right in that game from start to finish. So I think when you look at this situation here, Cal Poly looks like the undervalued commodity. 4-1 straight up. 3-1-1 against the spread on the home court so far this year. The matchup, I don't think, is that bad for Cal Poly. We've got a horrendous Weber State defensive team. Really, Weber State's bad in both ends of the floor. The one thing they do well is shoot free throws. They're 83% free throw shooting team. So they've been really, really good in terms of the free throw line, but that's about the only thing they're good at. They're not a good rebounding team. Weber State's got the advantage, Cal Poly rather's got the advantage, especially the defensive glass. They're a horrible offensive rebounding team near the bottom in all of Division I college basketball, and Cal Poly is excellent defensive rebounding. So it could be initial shot. It's not a good shooting team. They don't get their misses very often because they're a horrible offensive rebounding team. So this could be one and done when the Weber State team has the basketball tonight. So I think the matchup's pretty solid here for this team when it's all said and done. I think the number is reasonable here at 5.5. I'm going to go with Cal Poly here.
It absolutely makes sense. Billy Friedrich saying everything points to an easy Cal Poly win. Cal Poly 6-2 against spread. Weber State 1-7 against spread. That all makes sense. And so why on earth would these books have moved it to 4 and then now it's back at 5.5? But why is my question. So, and
by the way, they're 1-10 ATS their last 11 road games. Now that's going back to last year too, Weber State.
Crazy.
But they don't even play well or cover numbers on the road, and they're 0-4 this year on the road.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And because it's nuts, I'm not going to move on. 5 Dimes has moved it to 6 though. This is strange. And so has Heritage moved it to 6 as well. That makes
I get it. Strange. And there are games like this I end up on that are, it's like, why isn't this moving in my direction more? But like I say, I'm not as hell-bent on fighting it when I see stuff like this. Like I say, the 5.5 looks cheap to me. Good about the surging team, better form, matchup advantages, reasonable line, reasonable price, good enough for me.
There's W. Arthur. Welcome. Great to see you. And let's lock that in for you. Cal Poly minus 5.5 at minus 107. I mean, even Pinnacle's got it juiced to Weber State here. So Bobano is locked in. Let's review all action before we get into NBA. We have Dutch Boy Fresh waiting in the wings to attack. I do have some interest in Georgetown, which I'm very comfortable not being involved with. Because of Xavier's sloppy game against Southern. That's the reason. I wish they dominated Southern and played great basketball. Then I'd probably move on Georgetown first half. I'm not going to do that here. Bobano's on Delaware +7 to -103. I'll probably get a 6.5, but I'm joining them. Then I have interest in South Florida first half. I can't explain why it's gone from 6.5 to 6, but the full game's moved in the right direction. I guess, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to drop it after that win at Northern Iowa. I'm going to not bet it. Bobano's on St. Bonaventure at -3 at -110. Austin P. Murray State, we are staying off. Bobano's on Youngstown -8 and the over 152. I'm going to move on Youngstown first half. So I'm going to move on Youngstown as well. Bobano's on Chicago State +14.5 -107. I'm going to be on Oral Roberts first half. Creighton Marquette, we are staying off, waiting on the Kalkbrenner news, and then Cal Poly -5.5 for Bobano. And that, friends, is our card today. Bobano, thank you so much for rolling with us. Love it, my friend. Love it. So go out there, get that cash. We have NBA Pub Hub at 4 p.m. And then we also have the big NCAA Pub Hub tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. that rolls into Dutch's live bet stream. Don't forget tonight, Razor Sharp Picks as well. Razor Sharp Picks and Dabby Cab have the Warriors-Sixers game, which a little bit of the shine is off with the injury to Steph Curry. But that will be happening tonight, and they'll be looking at all sorts of games across the board. So maybe they switch games, which they're more than welcome to do. But that's the plan right then. And then you can catch our guy Bobano Sunday morning hitting leadoff on NFL Pub Hub. He's off another huge week, so he has cemented his placement up on top of the leaderboard of the 21 cappers that we've had. Thank you for your time, Bobano. Follow him on Twitter at Bobano. Ian, my man, any last words for the cappers?
No, just great stuff. Always fun, Jimmy, with you on Fridays. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Good luck to you this weekend, and we'll see you all later today. NBA Pub Up, 4 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Good luck, everybody.
There he is, Bobano. We go from Hamilton, Ontario to Las Vegas, Nevada. We have the freshest man in the capping industry about to beat up this giant NBA card with us. Please, without further ado, welcome to the show, Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, what's good, man?
Jimmy the motherfucking bag. Salute to you, all the real ones holding it down in the chat. You already know it's all love. The NBA is a hell of a drug. And you looking at the plug. Yeah, man. Good to be back with you on a Fresh Friday, Jim. I know I've been pretty mediocre on this motherfucker, though. So it's time to step your game up. It's time to put in some motherfucking work. And I believe we will do it today. Nice looking card. Let's get to the motherfucking bag, Jim.
Let's get it. I'm mediocre. It's early. You're still 13-12, hitting at 52%. So, we know what you've done. You had the finest performance that any capper has ever had as one of my guests in the 5-year career I've had last year. Hit at 59.8%. So your body of work speaks volumes, and this is a small sample size. So we have enormous belief in you. Let's get right to work, my friend. Let's get right to work. There's a lot of injury. This is a pretty funky start to the season. You have teams that we had expectations on. I mean, the idea that the Wolves are going to be a lottery team, the Hawks, the changes that were made in the offseason have not helped. The consistency of teams like coming back with the same group like the Raptors and the Lakers, that hasn't helped.
Mavericks.
And the Mavericks. Yeah. So this has been tricky. Let's get right to work. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Hawks 14-15, 5-10 on the road at the Charlotte Hornets, 7-21, 4-10 at home. Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Even to add to that, you have the young teams in the Magic and the Rockets starting to play ball. So it's been tricky. And these two teams, we start off with a garbage fire. Atlanta 1-4 over their past 5, playing the pace of 100.9 possessions a game. No more garbage fires for me outside my window, though. I've moved from Parkdale. No more Parkdale for me. Charlotte 0-5 over their past 5, playing at a pace at 99.33 possessions a game. Lee Davis says Hayward intends to play tonight. Kadesh says no Capella, Hornets spot. Let's take a look at the line history for this one and just set a very quick table before Dutch takes control. Atlanta, Charlotte. This opened up with Charlotte as 1-point dogs. The Hayward News has changed that to 2.5-point favorites. So that's a 3.5-point swing. This total opened up. This is crazy. This is a bookmaker. Let's see what Pinnacle did with this. Wow, even Pinnacle's crazy. Bookmaker opened this up yesterday at 4 p.m. at 228.5. This is the biggest move we've seen all year. This is an 11.5-point move up to 240. I mean, that's just nuts. To think that the models and the advanced, computers would be this far off is absolutely nuts. Pinnacle 231 to 239.5. That's absolutely nuts. At what point the last time this happened in a game, it wasn't 11 points, and I said that the computers can't be this far off. It's impossible, and took the under, and it didn't even the under cashed at the beginning spot, let alone the 8 points that it went up. I'm not saying I'm going to do that here. I'd like to hear what Dutch has to say. There's LJ from H-Town in the house. Viper says Toll's gone under in 13 of Charlotte's last 18 games at home. Toll's gone under in 7 of Charlotte's last 9 games when playing Atlanta. Kadesh says no Capella, no Collins. Big problems for Atlanta. Atlanta comes in off their second straight loss, 135-124 at Orlando on Wednesday. The Hornets coming off their 6th straight loss, 141-134 in overtime at home to Detroit on Wednesday as well. And let's just quickly look at the cash flow. It must be all over the over. We have here 3,954 tickets in, 26% of the tickets, 27% of cash on Atlanta, 40% of the tickets, 46% of the cash on the over. Can you shine some light on this wild move to the over? Take it away, Hawks Hornets.
Well, I mean, it's a pickup basketball game. I will say that. That's what it is with the Charlotte Hornets. A lot of one-on-one basketball, especially with LaMelo coming back in. I don't really like this basketball game, to be quite honest with you. The total is insane, but Atlanta is an auto fade on their own. As simple as that. So if you got enough balls to bet on the Charlotte Hornets, this is the spot to do it. Atlanta's 1-7 straight up last 8, 5-10 overall against the number on the road this year. You touched on it. No Capella, who's really the big piece inside. Trey is unhappy. Obviously the losing Murray is a big addition, but I wasn't high on Atlanta from the get-go. We've made an awful lot of money off Atlanta on the road, fading them. It's just hard to do against the Hornets basketball team, who I have absolutely no trust in, and also is suspect as fuck against the number at the house as well. You would think second game back for LaMelo, I believe, have his legs back underneath them a little bit. I do not trust either one of these basketball teams, but if you told me I had to pick one, I would trust the Charlotte Hornets at home much more than the Atlanta Hawks, missing half their team on the road. But keep in mind, they did get smacked the fuck around. I mean, embarrassed. They were trending on Twitter so bad against the Magic the other night. So if they have any, fortitude, they should show it here, especially to start off the basketball game. So in that aspect, Jim, it could be, I could see where people could maybe look Atlanta a little bit, because they really got smacked the fuck around against an Orlando team. They usually put it on earlier in the season. I believe they beat them by double digits. Just
horrific deja vu of Knicks Hornets last Friday on the show. You said a similar thing. You were like, the market was moving towards the Hornets. And I was like, oh, I kind of like them here. And you're like, do you really trust this Hornet squad? I didn't bet them initially. And at like 6:30, I'm out running an errand. I'm like, oh, I got to bet. I don't know what the fuck came over me. And I bet the Hornets at +3, and they lose.
Yeah, Nick smacked them around, right?
Yeah, it was awful. It ruined my night. I was like, why did I add this stupid? Oh, God, it just fucking sent me in a fucking tailspin. Yeah. So I get it. But do you think here, you know what, your angle of Atlanta getting destroyed by Orlando, and they have to show some heart here, right?
I would think so. I would think so. And they do have Trey, who should be able to do what he wants against this Charlotte Hornets basketball team. They have nothing defensively for him. And I'm not a Trey guy, but I mean, he's gonna have his nights. And if he's gonna have one, it should be tonight. So I mean, yeah, Atlanta first quarter, first half, maybe from what we've seen going off of last week, and then what just happened against Orlando. I mean, that could be a play here, Jim, but I do not trust Atlanta whatsoever on the road.
Atlanta's playing at a pace at 100.9 possessions a game. Charlotte's playing at a pace of over the last 5. Charlotte's playing at a pace of 99.33 possessions a game. And you're going to give me a 240? I mean, that's just – are they that bad defensively or that efficient offensively?
Well, just off principle, I think you kind of got to go out. If you wanted to bet a total here, so you have to bet the under now. But, yeah, I mean, no Capella. They have absolutely no protection on the paint. And Charlotte, I'm telling you, it's YMCA basketball over there. It's just, you get yours, I'll get mine. And let's go. If we win, okay. If we lose, oh motherfucking K. So I don't like betting on a basketball team like that. I do think we will see better signs with LaMelo. Say what you will about him. I'm not a big LaMelo fan, but he does have all around game. So if he's gonna be bought the fuck in, he should help that basketball team. But still, it should just be you get yours, I'll get mine type of basketball, Jim.
I have to do it, Viper. I have to take the under 240.5. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's a big boo. I think just off of principle, if you you kind of got to. I don't bet totals though, so
I have to, and I will. And I'll
give
Charlotte the opportunity to fuck my Friday night over again. Let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Dutch Boy Fresh joining us on Fridays. Fresh Fridays. Sacramento Kings 15-12, 7-8 on the road. At the Pistons 8-22, 4-9 at home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Sacramento 2-3 over their past 5. Snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 124-123 win at Toronto on Wednesday. The talk now in Toronto is, can we be a lottery team? That's what they're all saying. We want to be a lottery team. We want to get in on lottery. We want to get rid of Van Fleet if anybody will take him off our hands. We don't know what's wrong with Scotty Barnes. We want to keep Siakam and Scotty Barnes. We want everybody else to fuck off. That's the talk on sports radio. We want to lose.
No OG?
Well, look, we're going to push. We were pushing for OG to be an all-star, but we know that OG has all the value. He's got all the value.
Yeah. You got the thing is you got kind of the same type of players. I mean, he's pretty much a poor man Siakam in my opinion. Siakam's better to me. And I mean, obviously he does play better defense, but they're long, lanky wings, streaky from the field.
The whole question is, can we be worse than the Lakers and the Timberwolves? That's every single talking head in Toronto. How bad can we be? That's what they want to do now. It's absolutely horrific is what's happening.
Yeah, well, Gary Trent came back to reality. He was playing out of his mind last couple of years.
I thought that's who he was. I thought Masai pulled the most brilliant trade of all time, Storm and Norman for Gary Trent. And I thought, look at this fucking magical. Oh God.
Yeah, see, I thought the other, and then I had to hear from Ski for fucking the last 2 years, and now it's starting to come a little bit back more to reality. I wasn't big on that guy from Duke. I thought he played out of his mind in Portland, and I was like, Norman Powell, man, I liked him in Toronto, but he hasn't shown much either. Obviously, he went. The trade is, however, going to Port. He went to the Clippers, whatever. But yeah, I definitely wasn't that high on Gary Trent. He played fucking ball the last 2 years. Now he's suspect right now.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. Every what's wrong with Scotty Barnes? What's wrong? Oh God, this just sucks. Sky Dragon says I want OG to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's got him at 100-1. Currently it's 6-1.
We better get healthy.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you need him to be healthy. I could cheer that on for you, Sky Dragon. Okay, so sorry. God, don't even want to talk about this basketball game. We're not even talking about the Raptors game. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, Detroit snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 141-134 overtime win at Charlotte on Wednesday. Here we go. Let's take a look at the line history here. Sacramento, Detroit. What am I doing? The Raptors aren't even in this. Detroit.
I was just rolling with you, bro. I'm a little salty about Toronto right now. They lost to Sacramento the other night, so I was ready to bash on them a little bit with you.
Detroit opening at +5. They're now +5.5. This total opening up at 237.5. That's where it stands right now. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 5,069 tickets in, 58% of tickets, 58% of cash on Sacramento, 59% of tickets, 58% of cash on the over. Casey's doing a pretty good job, really, with the Pistons. I mean, there are 8-22, but take it away for us here, Dutch. Is there anything to like here in Kings Pistons? Do you want the Kings as this big of a road favorite?
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy Sam Comer and Troy. He says Gary Trent is the same as Zach LaVine are the same player, bro. Gary Trent ain't even sitting at the same table as Zach LaVine, bro. But he does need to get healthy as well. But yeah, man, I like Sacramento proud here. I know the one thing does come to mind that they are towards the end of a long road trip here. But man, there's levels to this shit. And let's just be real. Sacramento Kings are a better basketball team than Detroit Pistons. They still playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder as well. And these two teams did play November 20th in Sacramento. 8-point win by the Kings. But the Pistons showed up and played motherfucking basketball. Shot 51.7% from three, 52.8% from the field, and still lost the basketball game by 8 points. I look at Sacramento as a bet on team. They are 6-1 ATS last 7 versus a losing team. 4-1-2 ATS last 7 versus these boys. In Detroit. And the Pistons, they played somewhat a gritty basketball, but overall at the house they have been a fade. 1-4 ATS last 5 at home. 1-6 straight up last 7 at the house, Jim, and not too good against the Western Conference. 1-5 straight up last 6 versus the Western Conference here. I do like my guy De'Aaron Fox. I think Sabonis will eat here. Maybe look if Bagley runs, he might get a little. If you want to look from a prop perspective, he might get a little action against his old team. So I wouldn't be surprised if Marvin has a game tonight. But I like the Kings here, and due to the fact that they could be a little tired, and I don't believe they are, I'm going to look maybe first half here, Jim. What's the best line we have here first half for the Kings?
I'll find that for you. So you touched on it off the top, and I just want to touch on it one more time. Sixth game of a 6-game road trip, flying home, and I guess that's what is that? When I first say that, does that make you want nothing to do with the team, or does it depend on how that road trip has gone? I guess it must depend on how the road trip's gone. And
a little bit on that. Go ahead.
They're sitting 2-3,
right?
What is your regular feeling on the team of a 6-game road trip about to go home?
To me, it's a lot with a basketball team. I don't just buy into the end. It's 6 games. This is a young, hungry basketball team. They have not won that many games in Sacramento. This year, yes, they have, and they've shown up in games that I maybe haven't thought they would, especially on the road. So to answer your question, in this aspect, with a young, hungry basketball team, I think they're going to look to come out and just play basketball, do what they do, and play at another level than Detroit Pistons. They've shown it this year. Statistics, stats, all of it shown that Sacramento's on another level than Detroit Pistons. I just like the Kings here. I do see the fact that's the one red flag to me. But man, I thought they were going to be tired going to Toronto, and they lost first quarter, first half, Jim, and then outplayed them the whole second half. In Toronto against a better basketball team than Detroit Pistons. So yeah, I have to go here with the Kings. I'm not really too worried about them going home after this.
Very interesting. First half -2.5 at -113 for Dutch. He's on.
I could see the Pistons grinding it out and maybe cover a full game here, backdoor cover or something. But I do think the Kings will come out and be up double digits early.
Ski Profit in the house. Great to see you. Xnizzle, I missed that. I mean, it's been very busy, but I love it. I'll check that out for sure. Xnizzle, thank you for sending that to me. Kings first half -2.5. Twan wanting to talk a line value. There's nothing on this NBA card at this point from Sports Insights. They've given the Cavaliers, I would say, 7%, 8%. That's the most. So it's just slivers on a few teams. No real help here for NBA line value, implied line value.
Sounds like you like the Pistons, Jim.
I can understand not trusting either team, really. I guess I just don't really know how to quantify it. The Sacramento on the final game of a road trip. I mean, they're in Detroit, right? You just want to go home. So I'm not.
They gonna put him away early, bro.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very interesting spot. I feel like it's tough. TJ took Detroit first half. On the other week, Sacramento 1-4 on the road. Now, if they are a hungry 1-4 at first half on this trip, but if they are a young, hungry team, then that's going to be hammered into them. That's going to be hammered into.
This was a sit-down answer. To go back to your first question, if this was the Lakers, Dallas Mavericks, Sixers in this situation, I'd automatically look. I'd just probably stay out the game or have to take the points. But this is a team that hasn't been winning. They're still getting used to winning. They like it. They love the taste of it. They're going to come out here and just put it on a Pistons teams they know they're better than.
Yeah, no, I get it. I will be cheering you on this spot and watching the game. Richie Vegas, I used to be nonstop down there, 6-7 times a year, and now I have a 1.5-year-old and a 5-year-old, so it's confused. It's fucked up certain things and made other things better, but trips to Vegas have not been happening. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Orlando Magic 9-20, 1-11 on the road at the Boston Celtics 22-7, 11-2 at home. Ski Profit also liking that look on the Kings.
Let's go.
Food for thought. Definite food for thought. And look, I mean, I don't know if I'd move on the Grizzlies if it wasn't for Ski and Dan in our chat yesterday. I was a little concerned with how much money was on the Grizzlies, but then I was like, I get why they're on. Like, I get it. And then I stayed off the under, which helped as well, but still just.
You got on the 2.5?
I got on the 2.5, yeah.
Good shit. Yeah, real quick, shout out to our guy, Ski. He did, on the show yesterday, we had the show on NBA Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports Radio, and he told me, his 2 plays, and he told me after, I didn't bet the game. I was like, man, I want to bet the Grizzlies, but I was right with you, Jim. I was like, almost seems like too easy. And then the Pelicanos, and I said it's too easy on no one. And he told me, if you're going to bet one of those games, make sure it's the Memphis motherfucking Grizzlies, and he was right. That shit was easy, motherfucker. Feet up in the air. Kush was tasting a little bit better at that time, huh?
Ooh, wow, yeah, that was they're the real deal, and wow, they're going to be a cocky group, man. They're gonna you don't want them to win the championship, man. You'll never. But no, it was fun. I love watching Ja play, so. It's just great. It's great.
Mean, what I like is he cares. You show the whole team cares.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's nice to see. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I like it. All right, Magic Celtics, TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. Young Bobano, very high on these Orlando Magic, coming off their 4th straight win, 135-124 home over Atlanta on Wednesday, and they hammered Atlanta. That score doesn't really do the game justice. Yeah. Orlando 4-1 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 97.76 possessions a game. It's interesting that these young teams, the Magic and the Rockets, have slowed their pace way down and started to play their best basketball. Boston 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 101.29 possessions a game, snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 122-118 win at the Lakers on Tuesday night. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, Magic Celtics. We have the Celtics opening up at -12.5. It got up to 13. It's back. It got up to 14. Wow. So the initial move, after a suspect road trip was people are hammering Boston. This got up to 14 before it came back to 12. From a total side of things, it opened up at 228, is down to 227. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one, the cash flow. 5,170 tickets in. 65% of tickets, 68% of cash on Boston. 60% of tickets on the under, and no help with the cash flow. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Celtics back from their road trip at home versus Magic.
Yeah, man. Bobano loves these Magic. I like Bobo, man. I do. I think this kid's real nice. We talked about it a couple times, but I don't know, man. This game to me, not much really for a gym, to be honest with you. I don't lay. There's no way I'm laying 13. I'm just saying you got to win this game by 13 basketball points. I'm not doing that. So if I had to bet this game from a side perspective, it'd have to be Orlando. Obviously the Celtics back from the long road trip did get right a little bit early against the Lakers. Got a win, but scary late. I believe OT. So I think they might be sleepwalking through this game, to be quite honest with you. The more I even just think about this game, and I really didn't look into it too much because we got a lot of games, and I just thought, damn, it's a big spread. Magic might be a look here, getting 12.5. I really just think the Celtics are probably going to be a little bit in cruise control. I believe Marcus Smart is questionable as well. But yeah, man, Magic, that's a lot of points there. Also, maybe to get back on the side of the Boston Celtics team total, that really was a trend riding at the house, especially kind of, back from kind of went away from that on the road a little bit. Did struggle a little bit on the road as well, but like I mentioned, when you find LA, Lakers being LA, it's time to get right when you do see the LA Lakers. So they did get right against them. We might see that happen again here tonight, Jim, but I'm just not in the business of laying 13. So if I bet this basketball game, it would have to be the points here from the Magic.
It's interesting. You have a team off 4 straight wins, and the books put out a number where they know they're going to get money on Orlando. I'm totally with you, not wanting to be on this favorite.
It's like oh, you kind of have to bet the Magic, right? So yeah, you're right. They're just fucking begging you to bet that shit.
Yeah, no, I understand the discomfort.
That's why usually when I see it, I just move right past it. You know what I mean?
Let's move past it. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Next up for us, Indiana Pacers 15-14, 6-8 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers 18-11, 12-2 at home. Had some nice looks on the Cavs from you guys. You seem to be able to know when they're going to roll and when they're going to fall off. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. They come off that 105-90 victory at Dallas on Wednesday night. I only had them first quarter. Drill had them full game. It was a nice, comfortable victory, and Spider stepped up. Indiana snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 125-119 win at home over Golden State on Wednesday night. Indiana 2-3. Their pace has slowed way down. Still fast in comparison to the other teams in the league, or around average, but 100.8 possessions a game last 5. Cleveland 3-2, playing at the slowest pace in the NBA over that stretch, 95.30 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history. You've also had a good read on Pacers. You've had a good read on both of these teams. Cleveland opening up -7.5. They're now -8. This total opening up at 224. They're now at 220.5. You cashed with the Pacers on this show last Friday. And then we have 5,931 tickets in. 46% of the tickets, 59% of the cash on the Pacers. And as I said, maybe 7 or 8% implied line value at Sports Insights, which is the highest of any other game, is on the Cavs. 45% of the tickets, 69% of cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Pacers, Cavs.
Yeah, Jim, you're right. I have been on both of these teams, and usually I look for the Cavs here, especially first half. They're 701 ATS first half, last 8 at home here, definitely at the house. And my first thought was to get right here back on the Cavs first half, maybe even first quarter here. But in these, they have covered all 3 games here, the last 3 meetings. Average win right at 8 points per game. So to me, this line is super sharp. However, they are down in the first half, by I believe by 7 points in average in the matchup. So it kind of made me want to stay a little bit away here from Cleveland first half, because Indiana actually plays them sharper in the first half, and overall full quarter is the better teams to show. But still only 8 points. So like I mentioned, very sharp here. They are 3-1 and 1 ATS last 5 at the house. The Cavaliers are, and on the road, the Pacers have been somewhat suspect. 2-4 ATS last 6 on the road. 3-6 ATS last 9 overall. Kind of came back to reality. And 1-5 ATS last 6 in Cleveland. So the thought here would be the Cavaliers, but I just simply believe the line is too sharp for me. If it was less games on the board, I probably would maybe put a unit on the Cavaliers here, but I don't need to force it here. I think this game should be tight, to be quite honest with you. Cavaliers would be my look early, but the numbers say stay away from that, so I'm going to just stay off this game.
When the Cavs are dictating the pace in games, a bunch of us, we're all cashing unders with them. But here there was a huge move towards the over, which is surprising. This got up to 225. This got up to 225 4 hours ago. So, and there's bigger bets that have been bet on the over. But Ski's on the under 223, so he is on moving on the under. Interesting. I wonder, because even Indiana's pace is slowed down. I find it interesting that this got up to 225. This was at 225 at 8:27 this morning, and when it got to 225, even at 8:23, 8:26. There was not heavy, but well, actually, it was at 8:23. It was -112 to the over, and no vig on the under 225. That's strange. I'm gonna stay off this spot as well. Let's talk about the next spot. This is our live bet stream with Dabby Cab and Razor Sharp picks tonight. I think they're probably, and if you guys want, I mean, totally up, you have whatever you guys really want here. But this is the one right now. Warriors, Sixers, Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Golden State 1-4 of their past 5, 2-13 on the road, and now no Steph. I have Clay is still questionable, but we've heard from some people that they expect Clay to be out here. So maybe no Steph, no Clay. Philadelphia 3-2 over the past 5, playing at the pace of 99.86 possessions a game. Warriors have been running the floor. I wonder if that changes without Steph or possibly Clay. Sixers coming off their third straight win, 123-103 at home over Sacramento on Tuesday. It's Embiid. Embiid's pulling out his big balls and dragging them over anybody's face that's in the paint. He's been just an absolute monster, and no one can handle him right now. But I mean, maybe Jokic, you could say, would be capable of it. But God, he just looks like he's a bully right now. Philly opening up at -7.5. Now it's -9. You see, like Mason Plumlee gets in Embiid's face. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, it's just ridiculous. From a cash flow standpoint here, we have 3,143 tickets in. 78% of the tickets on Philadelphia. 99% of the cash on Philadelphia. We see teams step up in that first game without their star, but the betting public doesn't believe that. Sky Dragon says the Warriors without Steph are poverty. Clay and Draymond are washed. Pool party about to become pool poverty. Look at that. What beautiful. This guy's a poet. Take it away for us here, Dutchie. Warriors, Sixers.
Yeah, man. I think in most cases I agree with what you're saying like we're on the Warriors plus 7.5 against Utah. They stepped up without Curry and the whole damn team. Almost won that game outright. But I think, Philly, man, most importantly, they're very well rested, bro. And they've been at home, posted the fuck up for 11 days, Jim. They've had 4 home basketball games in the last 11 days, just been chilling. They've been doing what they need to do, and most importantly, they handle business at the house. 10-0 ATS last 10 at home, 11-4 ATS overall last 15, and they are 2-13 ATS last 15 versus the Golden State Warriors. You talked about Embiid stepping it up, doing his thing. Who's he gonna want to do it against more than Draymond Green's loud motherfucking ass? Come on, man. He gonna show the fuck up, and he gonna beat the motherfucking so-called bullies while they're down. Believe that. I think the Sixers are gonna really just blow them out of the water here. Number has got a little lineup. I trust the Sixers more full game here, first half. Usually, and I do like the first half as well as full game here. I just simply believe they're gonna put it on them, man. Like the Warriors have that cockiness, they talk that shit. Even Clay, these are Sixers are gonna want to beat them. What they have, just like they have been doing. 2 days off as well, and the Warriors have been an auto fade on the road. We took advantage of it, and we're gonna take advantage of it today. The Warriors are 2-13 straight up on the road, Jim. 3-12 overall against the number on the road this season. 1-4 straight up overall last 5. Steph has been doing amazing things for this team without him and without Wiggins. Wiggins, say what you will about the boy. He brings it. He brings length. He brings a lot to the table. Missing him, they have absolutely no paint protection. I mean, you're gonna rely on Draymond and Looney and these boys against Joel and fucking Embiid. This should be barbecue chicken early and often. What's the best lines we got right now? Because I know this line did get carried away a little bit for good reasons.
Yeah, it's pretty big right now for the half. There are 5.5s. Actually, there's a 4.5 juiced -117. That's interesting. That's at 5 dimes. Most of our 5.5s. Bovada is the first book to move it to 6. And then for full game, we have 9s on the board with minimal vig, but the sharp books have all moved it to 9.5.
Yeah, I got it at 8. Let's do that first half, 4.5 -117.
All right, you got it. Dutch is in. That's available at 5 dimes. Dutch is on the Sixers first half -4.5 -1.
Yeah, that's good. A nickel. That's good money at halftime, Jim. I'm telling you, they're gonna smack them around.
Tease will be at the game tonight. He'll be.
There you go. Have that Joel Beaton jersey on, bro. Shout out to T.
Yeah, man. That'd be fun, man. 5.5 if I wanted to bet it right now. I like if you can find that 5 and get under it. I get it.
I mean, 9's good money. I just don't like. I mean, 8 was real nice, to me.
Makes sense. No, it makes absolute perfect sense. It's so difficult. That's why what you did last year, everybody was so blown away with, was because you're giving out bets that can be bet as we speak, and so that's why it was just to hit 59.8%. That's why it's never done on the show. It's very difficult. So. Respect, man.
I don't talk about that too much, but just as we're gonna touch on it, that was with the really pretty not that good playoff record. I killed it the NBA season,
you
over 60.
Oh
playoff,
yeah,
you know what I mean. So
yeah, no, you were way. It was a fantastic year.
It was a beautiful regular season. I'll say that.
Let's move on to. Oh, no, it seems like every time we do a show together, Brooklyn Nets are playing the Raptors. And look at the Nets now. You said it. You said they were buy on, and they have been. The Raptors, who we never in our wildest dreams thought they'd be 13-15 right now, they're still 10-4 at home. It's because we have a better road record than the Warriors, and that's it. But we're home here, Scotiabank Arena, where we're 10-4, and the Brooklyn Nets are 7-7 on the road. And the Nets have already come up to Toronto and smashed us. Brooklyn 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 100.6 possessions a game, while Toronto 1-4, playing at the pace of 99.5 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for this one. We have the Raptors opening up -1 at -105, and we have a flip. They're now +1. They were +2. But they're sitting +1.5 right now. From a totals perspective, opened up at 226 and has not moved at all. Take a look at the cash in this one. We have 4,816 tickets in. 21% of the tickets, 39% of the cash on Toronto, but it's flipped. Then we have 63% of tickets on the over. We don't have cash flow on it. The Raptors coming off their third straight loss, 124-123 at home over Sacramento on Wednesday, and they're just getting hammered in the press. The Nets coming off their fourth straight win, 112-100 at Washington on Monday. This is a rested Nets squad. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Nets Raptors.
Yeah, man. This game right here, I really want to be on Brooklyn, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet. And I still think whether it's -1, 2, or +2, it's Nathan there. The only thing that's holding me back from this game, Jim, because I told you that they play these boys very well, and they have been bet on, but they played these boys already 3 times this year. 3 fucking times already, and they beat them all 3 fucking times. Covered it too. Average win 11 points per game, up by 7 at halftime. Average up by 7 in those 3 games as well. Shooting 52% field goal percentage against these Raptors. They've been doing what the fuck they want against the Toronto Raptors. It's hard to beat a basketball team 3 times in a year, let alone 4, man. 4 fucking times. I don't know, man. I think Brooklyn should be the play. I should be betting Brooklyn here, but I just can't when they've already bet them 3 fucking times in a row. Like we talked about, the Nets are bet on. KD been playing on another level. He's been just doing his goddamn MVP motherfucking level. Ben Simmons coming back around a little bit. Most importantly, Joe Harris, Seth Curry knocking down perimeter jump shots, and Kyrie is playing basketball on both ends of the court. So they are bought the fuck in here. They're definitely a bet on basketball team. 8-1 straight up last 9, 4-0 ATS, 4-2, ATS last 6 on the road, and 6-2 straight up last 8 versus Toronto. Only thing holding me back from this basketball game is that they've beaten 3 times already this year.
Yeah, we can't figure out if they care, because Scotty Barnes looks upset. I wonder if now is the time to. I've only bet against the Raptors once this year, and I cashed it so easily. It was when the Nets. It was after the Nets got smoked by the Sixers. They came up to Toronto. It was just wow. Bo Jackson said, "How many of you folk are aware that KD's been held under 20 points in every matchup this season?" Well, I mean that's wild for the prop market, but God, I feel like the market is just screaming here that the Nets are going to hammer them again. But we
And
do
no
have some
OG too. No OG now. So not to cut you off, Jim, but OG is a pretty solid matchup to throw at KD. With no OG out there, you could probably not count on him getting under 20 tonight. Plus, this motherfucker's been shooting out of his mind. Like, it's just like right now watching KD, it's like you're surprised when this boy misses.
I'm close. I'm close to moving on the Nets here.
I have it down here as like bet, Jim. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet, so I don't want to make it official.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just surprising me, you know. And you being, I wanted to talk it out a little bit with you too, because you know, usually where a team is beaten 3 times in one season, I feel like you would not really get in front of that either.
We talk about some of the issues that we have because we watch sports all day, and I listen. I'm listening to Buffalo radio. For whatever reason, I've been listening to Toronto radio. I think it's because I've been pretty enamored with the way the Leafs have been playing. So I've been listening to Toronto radio, but I've got it in my head, everything, all this horrible stuff. The Raptors podcast, the whole Raptors podcast 2 days ago was on the main Raptors podcast that's on Fan 590 was about, can we get under the Lakers? Can we be worse than the Wolves? Can we get into the lottery? That's what they're hoping for, you know? Yeah. So I think I'm just,
I mean, shit, Van Fleet dropped 35 last game against Sacramento, and they still lose outright at home as a 4.5-point favorite, you know? Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I might be here by Brooklyn by mid-afternoon, you know? It's still early. It was definitely my first read, looking into a little bit. Just hesitant to pull the trigger. But, yeah, Toronto's a fade, man. But they have been bet on at the house.
10-4. Yeah, I've got asterisks and question marks beside it at this point. Jacqueline, great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Let's move on to, and I love this. I really like this opportunity when two teams play against each other in the same barn. Except I was on the Bulls on Wednesday. Knicks have been a team that's just hurt me. I don't believe in them, but they're 8-6 on the road. It's just they're bad at the house. 15-13 overall at Chicago Bulls, 11-16, 7-6 at home. It's fun watching Troy talk about Levine and how angry he is at the contract. I get it, you know. United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Knicks 5 straight wins, 128-120 in overtime here on Wednesday. They're playing at a pace of 97.47 possessions a game. Chicago 2-3 playing at a pace at 101.18 possessions a game. Troy says, this is what I've been waiting for. You know, we want to hear what you think, Troy, my man. You watch this team so closely, so we'd be all ears to hear what you think. Let's just drop the line history here for Dutch. They open up the Bulls -3. They're now -2.5. Remember, they were 4 and moving when I bet them on Wednesday. This total opened up at 228. It's now at 226, so it's dropped 2 points. Let's take a look at the cash flow here, and we have the gift. The gift from TJ is the Knicks first half +1.5 -115. Says I get the best first half team against the spread in the league versus the worst first half team against the spread. New York 20-8, 8-2 in their last 10. Chicago 8-18-1 and 2-7-1 in the last 10. Says take the gift. It's 13-2 record. Take it to the bank. Help your Christmas. Let's take a look at the cash here. We have 5,373 tickets in, and the market's no help whatsoever. 50-50 on the tickets, 51% of the cash on the Bulls, 51% of the tickets on the under, and no cash flow. So no help there. This comes down to our capping. Take it away for us, Dutch. We're in the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Bulls at home to the Knicks.
Yeah, man. Really, I just think it's a situational spot here for the Bulls. You know, Thibodeau had them ready to go. Thibodeau got these boys playing solid basketball right now as well, and obviously going against his old team, Chicago. They are now 9-4 last 15 straight up versus, the Chicago Bulls. But, man, they just played them, bro. These boys shot fucking out of their mind from the three-point line. They shot 52.9% the Knicks from three-point line. 18 fucking three-pointers. Even the broadcasters were like, who is this team? Like, what the fuck? Like, they were shocked that the Knicks were shooting this well from perimeter. And believe me, the Knicks were shocked that they were shooting that well for the perimeter. I don't believe they'll do it again in Chicago. Not to mention that game still went to overtime. +17 the Knicks were in rebounding. So somebody blocked the fuck out. And Zach LaVine, might want to, attack a little bit more. DeRozan had a horrible shooting game, shooting from the field. Did get to the free throw a lot. I would expect him to be better as well. Vooch actually did whatever he wanted. So look for him to be aggressive continuously. I don't look for Julius Randle to have 30-plus points. They got to do that a little bit better. Actually, when they kind of switched up with Caruso was doing a better job guarding Randle. I look for a little bit more of that instead of, the big Patrick Boy from FSU. So I look for this, though, getting right. You're not going to go into Chicago in a matchup this heavy and two teams that are pretty much this equal, in my opinion, and beat them back-to-back at the house. So just off of principle, give me Chicago. Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Vooch. Kobe White had a solid game last game as well. Look for him to bring something off the bench. But you got to knock down perimeter shots. Alex Caruso could play a hell of a defense and taking off a lot of charges, but make open jump shots. Let Green get some minutes as well. I like to see more minutes from Green as well. But yeah, I like Chicago here to get right. Best number you can give me, man. I like the Bulls here. I don't think New York's going to come back to reality from the perimeter.
Yeah, I completely get it. I mean, to think that the Knicks shoot 52.9% from three, out-rebound the Bulls 48-31, and need overtime. They turned the ball over 18 times. That was the thing. This is I would love to dare the Knicks to do this again. Razor, I don't think so either. TJ says, if you like the Bulls, take them live later in the game where the Knicks slide. Let's line shop for Dutch. You want a full game here?
Yeah, absolutely. The Knicks did get out hot first quarter there. Then they came back to reality. But, I mean, man, these boys shot 53% from the three-point line, made 18 threes, shot out of their mind. Have not done that all season and still had to go to overtime to beat these. And Julius Jalen played a hell of a game too. So they need to lock down Jalen Brunson a little bit. You don't want to have fucking Zach LaVine running around there guarding Jalen Brunson.
Very, very interesting. Troy Torrance saying Drummond is worthless versus active centers off the bench, and Troy Torrance is on the Bulls for 2 units live. They didn't cover an OT. Did that 2 nights ago. Mr. Heat doesn't tell him Dutch. Bulls bounce back. And Troy Torrance says rebounds what won them the game. Great point, Dutch. And I'm not sure the Bulls have an answer. BJ says I'm staying away. Bulls are not a bet-on team. Coin says, could this be a repeat of Pell's Utah last night in the Chicago game? I'm going to spend more time on this.
One team's at home, though. My bad, Jim. One team's at home and one team's not the road. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. Rebounding was so big there. They got to put a body on Mitchell Robinson. That's for sure.
Fascinating game. I love when they play back-to-back in the same barn. Bulls -2.5, -106 for Dutch. Let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. Minnesota Timberwolves at Oklahoma City Thunder. Wolves 13-15, 6-8 on the road. Thunder 11-17, 6-6 at home. I thought, why do I keep doing this to myself? I was like, the Wolves +6.5. It's like they got to bounce back on Wednesday. Why do I just keep putting myself through this horrific misery with the shit basketball team that they don't care? Third straight loss, 99-88 at the Clippers on Wednesday. They're 2-3 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 101.70 possessions a game. And Cord moving on Knicks first half and Knicks full game, so he's on the other side here. It's fun. It's fun when we have difference of opinions. It makes it fun.
I mean, I don't like hearing people going to lose money tonight, but I do like hearing not everybody is on Chicago. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, no doubt. You don't want everybody on the same side. Oklahoma 1-4 over the past 5, playing at the pace of 101.40 possessions a game. I cashed with Oklahoma City +2.5. I've got off. You know why, Dutch? Why I've stopped taking the money line on it? Because of you. You're taking the +1.5s and the +2s, and it's been cashing. I cashed with the Thunder +2.5 when they lost by 2 on Wednesday. Then I did it again last night with Houston +3.5, and they lose by 3. So I'm you've helped me just watching. Man. That's the importance.
Let's not be greedy.
Yeah. Okay, so Thunder coming in off their 4th straight loss, but we cashed with them, and they losing 110-108 at home versus Heat. I really thought they could win outright. It was a dagger from Hero. Oklahoma City is -2.5 point favorites right now. Let's see what it opened at here. There are some 2s on the board. Oh, it opened at 2 at Pinnacle. They've moved it to 2.5. That 2.5 comes with no VIG, though. And then this total opened up at 231.5 and is now at 233. Take a look at the cash flow in this OKC spot. 2,484 tickets in. 26 of the tickets and 42% of the cash on the Wolves. I'm not going to fall for that trap again. 62% of tickets on the over. Take it away for us. Billy Friedrich on OKC, third quarter -0.5. There's Swizz in the house. What up, Swizz? Alex Hills. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Wolves, Thunder.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Fallish Hound. I see you. Razor Sharp Picks, my guy. I see you, my man. Yeah, this game I have really nothing for you, Jim. You touched on it, man. Like every time, I don't like fucking with shitty teams too much. And every time I bet on OKC for some reason, every time I become, AKA Thunder Buddy, like this shit goes wrong for me, bro. So I can't do it. But I would not be betting Minnesota here. I look for. I mean, Shea has been doing big things. I know he's came close back to reality a little bit here of late, but he should be able to do whatever he wants against this basketball team. And then I look at on the other side. I think Anthony Edwards should probably be able to get some of his too. I know they got Dort on the other side, but this should be a good prop game. I see a lot of points in this basketball game, but I would not be surprised if either team won. But OKC small number, just not a team I like betting as a favorite.
Jalen says, take the Wolves that can't bang in the post with Rudy. I mean, that was said in the chat. They said that watch Bam eat on Wednesday, and he didn't really dominate. He went from 15 points and 13 boards. He got the double-double, and they won. Do you think that the Thunder are so soft in their front court that any team with the big, tough – well, I don't know how tough Rudy is really, but three-time Defensive Player of the Year. Do you think that he's going to eat and the Wolves will take care of business because the Thunder is so soft in the front court?
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue that at all. So our guy Ski tends to really go on that as well. Anyone that they're pretty much playing that is a pretty big guy. He exploits him on a prop perspective. So I'd have to second that. Rudy should be able to get whatever he wants. But man, I can't trust Minnesota. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I can't either. Troy did cash Bam rebounds. Says you take Senators rebounds versus OKC. It's hitting at like 72% in the past 2 years. W. Arthur leaning towards the Wolves. I'm sure the Wolves will cash if I stay off them. So, fuck, man. Okay, just become so defeatist
when D-Lo back tonight.
Have your number. Oh God, they just. It was just a nightmare. They looked so good in that first half against the Clippers. And I was just sitting back like, finally, right? Fine.
Yeah.
God, I
wanted to bet them there too, Jim. I did. I was with you. Everyone was on the Clippers, and I was like, man, this overreaction. I think Minnesota, but I couldn't do it because it's Minnesota. So I saved me.
I don't mind that happening is when your bet looks so good in the first half and then it falls apart. What I hate the most is when your bet's fucked. You're going to lose for sure. And then your team comes back and you start getting hope. You're like, oh, wait, what? I'm going to, what? And then you, of course, lose.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
That's by far the worst thing that happens because you've already given it away. You're like, okay, I lost. I'm okay with it. I wasn't what? I have a chance?
Right. You send out to you text your boy, and then they hit you like, bro, it's not over. You came for 17 points back. And you're like, what the fuck you get? And then you lose by 2, and you're like, oh my fucking God.
It's the war. That's by far the worst thing in all of gambling. Okay, let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Portland Trailblazers 16-12, 9-6 on the road at Dallas Mavericks 14-14, 11-5 at home. American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Portland playing at the pace of 99.8 possessions a game over the past 5. They're 4-1. Dallas 2-3, playing at the pace of 96.7 possessions a game. Portland comes in off their third straight win, 128-112 at the Spurs on Wednesday. The Blazers' first half was, I don't give a shit what the spread is play today from Durrell. But I also wanted the team total, first half team total, because they were against the Spurs, and I didn't add that. And it's a Nut Flush Allen special taking team totals against the Spurs. Mavs come in off their third loss in 4 games, 105-90 at home to the Cavs on Wednesday. You have to think that they answer back from that debacle. But again, they're just a tricky team to trust here. 500, but they are 11-5 at home. Let's take a look at the line movement and where the cash lies here for this one. We have Dallas opening up at -3.5. That's exactly where they stand. There's been no movement. From a total standpoint, opened up at 222.5 and is up to 226, which I really think is too high for the pace of play from these two squads. Let's see if there's any sharp money on the under. 56% of the tickets and 98% of the cash is on Portland, and there's been no movement. 58% of tickets and 69% of cash is on the over, and it's climbed. I won't go up against that, but kind of want to. Let's hear what you have to say about this one. This is a fun one. Western Conference battle, Blazers, Mavericks.
Yeah, man. I did jump on the 4.5. I got at -115. It looks like it's gone now at BetMGM as well. I was just looking at that. So I'll stay away from I'll stay away probably to making that official. It's only 3.5s available. But this game I went back and forth on. I'm really high on a prop here too. I don't dab into the prop market as well as much, but I really like a prop here. Seeing extreme value. But this game I went really back and forth, Jim. I do like the 4.5 here. And my first thought was just what you said was, man, we have to bet Dallas here. This is a get right spot for Dallas after getting embarrassed. But man, Dallas is an average basketball team right now. And I think the Blazers are kind of like what we've seen with Cleveland when they came in with that chip. They're trying to show that, hey, we're competitive. We're probably better than you right now, as they've shown. And we're here. We're here as in like ready to compete. And they want people to take notice. And I feel that with the Portland Trailblazers as well. And one main reason, not only has Jeremy Grant been playing out of his fucking mind, this kid Simons is nice, but, it's really about Dame time, man. He's back. He really is. He's back to what we seen 2 years ago. And when it came down to it, I see my guy here with the tweet, with the thing, but, when it comes down to Dame and, of course, Luka, these two, man, they're my favorite players, and I feel like they can pretty much squash each other out. I'm not going to lie to you. But I do believe Dame is trying to prove that he's back to where he was, and somewhat we've seen with Spider and these boys in Cleveland. I have the same feeling as the other night. And the Blazers have been bet on the road. 11-4 ATS on the road this year, 6-0 ATS straight up last 6, and they are 5-0 versus the Western Conference last 5 ATS. But when it comes to the Mavericks have had their way with them. They have won 5 straight. These two teams did play November 12th in Dallas, 5-point win by Dallas. And the Blazers played good basketball. They shot 42% from 3, shot 13 plus 14 in the rebounds, plus 4 in the rebounds. Can't even read my writing. Plus 9 in the free throws. Jeremy Grant dropped 37 on these boys. Dame had 29 and 7 and 12. And Simons had 24. So they got whatever they wanted on Dallas. But Luka, prevailed, had 42, 13, and 10. So I could make cases, honestly, for both sides here. I think the line is very sharp. But I do believe Portland's going to come in with a chip, Jim. And I think 4.5, this game could be extremely tough. They do not cover the Mavericks. They're 4-10-2 ATS this year at the house. Now, they are 10-4 at home, Jim. So they win basketball games at the house, but they do not cover the numbers. So you're going to give me 4.5 against a team that I believe is playing better basketball right now, who I can't say this very often, can match Luka with Dame time. And I think Jeremy Grant, Simons, and they also didn't have Nurkic in that game, who I believe they have absolutely nothing for Nurkic down low. He should be able to eat, get rebounds, and do whatever he wants as low. Because really, when I'm watching Dallas, and I hate to say this because I'm a Mavericks fan, like I want them to do well, they're soft as fuck. They have absolutely nothing down low. They signed JaVale McGee. He's been nothing for them. They're starting Norman Powell. I mean, they have DFS starting at the 4, Tim Hardaway Jr., Luka, and Dinwiddie. That's your fucking starting lineup. After Luka, come on, man. It can't be that. So they have to improve on that, and they got to get better. They got to get another big. I like the addition of Christian Wood, but he's out on the perimeter the whole fucking time. He ain't helping nothing down low. So I look for Nurkic to be the missing key here than what they didn't have last game when they played November 12th. I look for Dame and the boys to show out. Close basketball game here. Give me over 28.5. He's averaged 37 points. He's averaging 37 points his last 4, 35 plus in all 4 games. I told you, it's Dame time. We'll see it tonight against the Mavericks. I love the over 28.5 in this game. So that's what I'll make official for this game because I want the 4.5, Jim.
Yeah, there are 4s, but I understand looking for the 4.5. Do you want, what's the juice on Dame over 28.5 points?
I got 115 on it.
All right. Locked in player prop for Dutch boy, Fred.
Yeah. He's looking real good, man. 8 of 11, or he had 11 fucking 3-pointers last time. Didn't even play in the fourth quarter. Dame is unreal right now.
Yeah,
and these boys, Luka, I love Luka. He the Don, but he gets a lot of love. So guys like Dame and them, They want to go in there and show like, hey, don't forget about me, man. And that's the Cleveland theirs. You know, Spider and Garland, they went in there and said, hey, all this talk about Luka, man, we're here too.
Yeah, I like the look. And I get it. Dame Lillard over 28.5 points at -115. Final game on the board for us. Shout out to Wild Hound giving us a plus 3,300 a parlay, same game parlay, 33-1 there. Messi and Alvarez to score anytime. Argentina to score both halves, and there will be more goals in the second half for Wild Hound. LJ from H-Town saying very good angle. Dutch stats show up versus Luka. And Jalen says, oh, Lord, here come the Lakers. There's Foxy in the house. Great to see you, Foxy. Foxy, another great capper from overseas like Wild Hound. Let's get to work here. Nuggets, Lakers. Nuggets 17-10, 9-7 on the road. Lakers 11-16, 6-7 at home. We're crypto. Denver 3-2 over the past 5, playing in the pace of 100.4 possessions a game. Lakers still, they've slowed down a bit, but they're still playing at a fast pace. 102.05 possessions a game over the last 5. Nuggets come in off their third straight win, 141-128 at home over the Wizards on Wednesday. Lakers coming up their 4th loss in 5 games, 122-118 in overtime at home to the Celtics on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have the Lakers opening up at +1. They're now +1.5. From a total perspective, opening up at 237, now 237.5. We take a look at the cash flow. We have 4,917 tickets in, 63% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the Nuggets. Not a big move towards them, you'd think. Then you have 53% of the tickets, 68% cash on the over. Take it away here, Dutch. Last game on the board, Nuggets, Lakers.
Yeah, man. The Nuggets, man, they're a frustrating basketball team for me, but I believe that shot they hit against the Blazers, Dame time, the other night, when I was on, had the 1.5, I believe, so I cashed, but I was surprised P-Town lost that game. Huge shot from Jamal Murray. I believe that might have gave him the juice, though, through the locker room. I think, Gordon has been playing out of his mind the whole time. Joker is going to do what he does, but they need Jamal Murray to be Jamal motherfucking Murray, especially without Michael Porter Jr. out. They got the little side pieces, man. They got Bruce Brown to do the dirty work. They got Caldwell Pope to fucking run them around and hit open jumpers. I mean, this team should be good, and I believe they're going to put it on the Lakers tonight. They've won 3 straight, 7-3 straight up last 10, and they have won 8 of the last 12 basketball games on the road. They played these boys 2 times this year. They split both. One in LA, one in Denver, both by 11 points. And Denver has had issues with LA, 1-7 straight up last 8 in LA. But I simply believe Denver has kind of turned the corner. They got a little mo going in that locker room. Jamal's getting his legs back, starting to feel himself again. And I think with the healthy Jamal Murray, a Joker, and Gordon playing the way he's been playing with the supporting cast, they should go into LA and get in that ass. I really believe it. The Lakers are 1-4 straight up last 5, 6-7 straight up at the house. They do not protect the house in LA. As a dog, they're 5-13 straight up this year. Give me the small favorite in the Denver Nuggets. I believe Joker Murray and the supporting cast will be enough here. Small number. I think they find a way. I was maybe looking here full game or first half as well, but I don't know. Denver could play around here a little bit, but 4 quarters, give me Joker and the boys to win the basketball game.
Nice cheap money line spot at Pinnacle, -112.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
Nuggets locked in for Dutch at -112. Here we go, -112. All right, let's review all action. Dutch, what a pleasure it is, an honor it is to have you rock with us on Friday. Spectacular work breaking down this card, just putting on a clinic. I'm going to move on the under 240.5 in Atlanta, Charlotte. Dutch gets his card started with the Kings first half, -2.5 at -113. Then Magic Celtics was a stay off, as was the Pacers Cavs. Dutch is on the Sixers first half, -4.5, -117. I imagine that line has moved even more now with the Draymond being out, which is just wild. Yeah, we have 10s now, 10s. Unbelievable. And Dutch got the 8. Great work there. Razor, I can imagine that you guys may move off this game. Again, you have complete autonomy with however you want to do the show tonight. And
yeah, you better get that Dallas P-Town game going, man. That would be the one. And Razor liking the Lakers tonight. I knew you would like the Lakers tonight. Shout out to Razor. He was on Utah. Most were on the Pelicanos last night. He went back to the window with the Jazz and cash. So I don't like seeing that you on the Lakers, but I had a feeling you would be, Razor. I did.
We have the question mark around the Nets, excuse me. That's still there. Dutch is on the Bulls, -2.5, -106. I want to look further into that. I do have asterisks beside that. Wolves, Thunder, we are off. But, God, do I just – it's optional misery is what my stepdad would call it in a family meeting. And thank God. I mean, it's been 25 years. How old am I? 30 years since I've had a family meeting. It still sticks in my head. Wolves, I guess I want to back them here, but God, can I do it? A Dame over 28.5 points for Dutchy, little player prop action in the Blazers Mavericks. That game is at 8:30. That might be a smart move to move over to that one, Razor, if you guys want. Nuggets -112 on the money line for Dutch as well. Dutch, with the Fouls Hound in the chat, we've heard the exciting news about the Daily Sesh special Christmas show on December 23rd. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, man. It's official December 23rd, like you said, Jim, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Dabby Cab, myself, Miss Fouls Hound, D. Lou from Delusional Eats. I believe Mr. Hey Jose is going to vibe out with us too. We'll let the little motherfucker chill with the adults for a minute.
Max, I'm going to be home alone, so I get crunk.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I dig that. Hopefully we can get the bag to come through. But I know you're a busy man with the family and all. So, but yeah, we're gonna vibe the fuck out. We'll have some epic Christmas vibes going. Show some, of course, some clips. And like we said, we're over our pub culture. We'll have the 18 plus on. So it's not for the children. I'll just say that. As it says on the little ad, it's unrated. So we'll keep it. Maybe a little more than PG. But yeah, man, it's gonna be good vibes. Smoking, showing y'all how to, these guys, Delusional Eats, they do big edibles, Jim. They're real big on all types of stuff. They cook it, they make everything with it. So we're gonna bring you a little more into that. Show you clips of that, show you exactly how our man D. Lou creates the magic, man. So very excited about it. Of course, we'll have strains of the day, breaking bread, and of course, we're gonna talk a little sports because that's just what we do. But all good vibes. Hopefully, Jose can hold this shit together and keep it together and be an adult. And be an adult. Yeah, man. There we go.
And Dutch, I might see Dutch in person here in the next week or so. I'll be in Vegas Christmas time-ish. So maybe I'll see Dutch there,
Yeah, shout out to our man, Iceman Vic on the 1s and 2s making that happen. Yeah, well, I told you, bro, if you want to see me, it better be from a motherfucking steakhouse. That's all I got to say.
Fair is fair. Fair is fair.
If you don't call me from a dispensary or a steakhouse, I ain't fucking with you, bro.
All right, I'll get down with both of those. You know what? Time arm behind my back. I guess I'll go. Fuck.
Nah, I busted balls. I like Jose. He was a real one. Swooped me up from the SA. Did big things out there with him. So yeah, man. Definitely hit me up when you're out here. We'll vibe out.
Everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special package, and I don't want you to open it. Do not open it. Cameras are on you, so do not open until I tell you. All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
You get a steak. 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 Everybody gets a steak.
That's my first time seeing that. Hey, that was good.
We'll come back. And the steaks will come back my way. Don't you guys worry.
I'm like, this motherfucker owe me like 4 steaks. I'm like, hey, man, you did enough. You did so much in San Antonio. I'm gonna 86 all of them, bro. You good.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Another look from Wild Hound. Messi, Alvarez, Mbappe to score anytime in Argentina to lift the trophy at plus 4,000, 40-1. DC Capper, Portland plus 4. Knicks over 225.5 and Philadelphia -9. Dutch, respect, excellent work. Thankful for these Fridays together. Follow our guy on Twitter at DutchBoyFresh. Dutch, any last words for these Cappers supporting the show?
I appreciate you, Jim. Always good vibes. Breaking bread with you. Let's hit him straight over the motherfucking head. Y'all stay fresh.
There he is, Dutch Boy Fresh. Let's review the rest of the action on today's card. We've had a great week, just Wednesday, Thursday, but 8 and 3 on Wednesday plus 4.7 units. And then yesterday, was 7-6, but that plus 165 on the Sabres took care of business and gave us a winning day. So let's just review action. Bobano. Oh, how did the Bahamas Bowl go? What's Miami UAB? What was
I think it was 10-7 last time I saw it. TBH.
Let's see here. We have 10-6, low scoring game there. So Bobano has the RedHawks plus 11, but he's also on the over 45. We'll see what happens at the end of the game. Then Jose's on his UTSA Roadrunners. That pops off in an hour and 15 minutes.
I have another play for you if you want it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Boston Celtics tonight. I'll be taking them minus 12.5, 13. Robert Williams and Al Horford back tonight for the Celtics. Celtics laid a smackdown on a shitty team. Jason Tatum locks up Paolo Banchero, and Miami, Ohio takes the lead. Touchdown.
Wow. Minus 12.5. We can get you minus 12.5. Let's lock you in here. Minus 12.5 at minus 101.
Yeah, I got to start watching and pay attention to the basketball now because betting with the Piquette next week is going to be a lot of fun.
Celtics minus 12, minus 101. You are locked in there. In NHL, I just stayed off of it completely. I'm gonna focus on Saturday, but Bobano did have action. Oh, sorry about the. I'm very close to moving on the under in the UTSA Troy game, but I'm gonna study it a little more. Bobano's on UTSA money line. Jose's on UTSA minus 2.5. Bobano's on the over 56. I need to study it more if I'm gonna go heads up with Bobano. Bobano's on the Wild team total over 4. Flames team total over 3.5. And I'm staying away from this shit NHL card. And then in college basketball, Bobano is on Delaware plus 7 minus 103. I'm going to move on that too. I probably will get a 6.5. Bobano's on St. Bonaventure minus 3. He's on Youngstown minus 8 in the over 152. I'm taking Youngstown first half. I'm also taking Oral Roberts first half. Bobano's on Chicago State plus 14.5 minus 107. And he's on Cal Poly minus 5.5. And I don't know what VIG that was at, so I'm gonna have to do a double check on the juice there. And that is our show. And this is the last time I'm gonna see you guys here on Betting with the Bag until the after Christmas, post-Christmas action. But I will see you on not only our Gridiron Gamblers, but I will be with Jose on the Cappers Contest show as well. So I'll see you guys next week.
I can't wait. You're gonna be like some bunker.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wi-Fi. You'll have like a radar dish.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to bang out, but I will get to wish you guys all Merry Christmas and all that glory.
Does Canada let's ask the important questions. First of all, we know you guys don't celebrate Thanksgiving on the same day. When do you guys celebrate Christmas?
The same day, December 25th. Yeah.
Okay, so Ella's not listening. What'd you get her?
We already did the Toronto Christmas. So we already hooked her up with because we have the one in Victoria. So we hooked her up with a bunch. She scored, man. This all she's locked and loaded, man. She's partying hard. Yeah. What
did Carter get? Climbing equipment?
No, we're trying to keep Carter. Carter's got black eyes, bruises all over. I mean, he's gonna be a very different athlete than me. Much tougher.
Yeah, he's gonna fucking make your life hell for like 4 or 5 years, just fucking bouncing off the walls, just plunging his body into things, just tackling you and shit. I could see it all.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. We have no show without you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Great to see the Fallish Hound in the chat. Please support the Daily Sesh special Christmas show on December 23rd. Saturated, King Al, Dabby Cab, Mr. Gogster, Oliver Page, Razor Sharp Picks, Swizz, Eric Seabrook, In Love with Meh, PG 00187, Cliff Yang, Sky Dragon, Nate the Great, Cole Coleone, Brandon the Great group, W. Arthur, all you Tease, Wild Hound. Thank you guys so much for your support. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Beating the books, working together, and cashing tickets. Go out there and get that cash. Jose, great job producing the show as always. And I'm looking forward to see your show next week.
You won't watch. I know you're not going to watch.
I'll peek. I'll peek in.
You ain't going to watch. I don't believe it.
I will. I'll peek in. Go out there and get that fucking cash. Leche caliente. Fucking milk.
Why is it hot now?
I don't know.
Why is it hot now? What happened to the milk?
It's hot milk. It's hot milk. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers.